the Giants had some stuff schematically against what we were doing that was effective. I mean, it was. Boy, I'm watching that 2-point conversion. Autry was held pretty bad on that play. He was held
really
pretty
held.
bad.
Tune in Robbie and Rex with Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on ESPN, 1025 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky to save me, looking for a sign.
E2 Roofing, Nashville's veteran-owned roofing company with integrity, and ESPN 94.9 recognize our veterans, active military, and first responders with the playing of our national anthem.
Let's go Flats!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched, we're so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free in the home of the brave.
This is ESPN 1025 The Game. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rexrode, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Stoney and Company!
Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase live at Vanderbilt Legends Club today for the Brent Peterson Golf Tournament, benefiting the Nashville Predators Foundation. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday. The Titans fall yesterday to the New York Giants 21-20 in a stunner at Nissan Stadium. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick here with you. D-Mase is on the links right now. He will join us later in the show, and we will be mixing in some flavor today from the Brent Peterson Golf Tournament. We're here every year. It's a great cause, so we will be telling you more about that. We'll hopefully talk to Brent a little bit later, and maybe even one of the members of the Nashville Predators will stop by as well. But the big story of the day, Willie, the Titans don't get it done. And this is my message. This is how I'm going to start this off. I'm not saying the season is over. I don't want to fire anybody yet. But I'm going to say this. Bad teams don't know they're bad if you keep letting them stay in the game. And that's exactly what the Titans did yesterday. They never put their foot firmly on the gas, except for maybe that first drive. But even they go up 13-0, and you're thinking, all right, the pass rush is there. Even without Harold Landry, they're getting to the quarterback. Weaver looks great. Simmons looks great. Okay. Yet the offense just couldn't get it going. And then the run defense They really couldn't get it going, and you let New York hang in it. You have Brian Daboll, who I think is going to end up being a pretty good coach. I like his pedigree, but he has that mentality of let's put it all on the table. He's got stones to go for it and go for the win and go for the 2-point conversion. He does that. Again, bad teams don't know they're bad if you keep letting them hang around, and that's what the Titans did.
We can have our yearly conversation of what the first week means and the freak out that always happens. You're going to have that today.
Sure.
And I don't think the Giants are a team that are going to wow everybody. They might be better than they were last year. If Saquon Barkley plays like he did yesterday, looking like a top-level running back, that could mean
a lot for
bunch
them.
of games in the standings there. And Daniel Jones didn't play a poor game. He's not bad. Could the Giants win 7 or 8 games and be quite a bit better than they were last year under a first-year coach? Yeah. And these are the mysteries of the NFL. There's going to be some teams that we are going to be comically wrong about when we made our predictions. It happens all the time. And that said, I think the biggest story of week 1 for the Titans is we're so used to having them win the close games.
Right.
They're so good at doing the little things in games that are close. Whether they're supposed to win the game, whether they're a favorite, whether they're a big underdog, they seem to find a way. They know how to win. And yesterday, it just shows you this is a victory for the analytics crowd that says it's not about that. It's not about who your coach is and how good you are at, quote, knowing how to win. It's just hard to win every time when it comes down to the last couple plays. A 2-point conversion, a field goal to win it. All these little tiny things that end up being the difference in a game. I think maybe the disappointing part was they, like you said, they weren't good enough to just put the Giants away. And that was, to me, the story is if they're not, it's just, it's one game. Hopefully they'll get better. But if they're not enough of a juggernaut to pound a bad team at home, then that's troubling. But are the Giants bad? I don't know. Maybe they're just mediocre. I don't know. Like you said,
I don't think they're very good.
Don't know they're bad. I don't think they're very good. But the Titans had an opportunity to have the game well put away by the time it came down to the last few plays.
And they couldn't do it. And, I did the post-game show last night with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow. We had a texter that chimed in and said, why do the Titans always play to their competition? And I think that is a theme under Mike Vrabel. And you've talked about this with the analytics of close games and all of that. But if you think
13-4 in games that are decided by 7 points or less over the last 2 years. Now, why is Scott Frost fired today? Because
he can't
Nebraska
win those.
has lost an unbunbelievable amount of games by 1 score or less. Take a look at it. I don't know the exact number, but it's phenomenal.
He was like 5 and
31 or something like all of his. I mean, they're in every game, but they've lost a ton of them. So again, I don't know what the math would tell you in that with analytics. That's probably a book report kind of thing, research paper for some student at Nebraska. But in the NFL, they say that as good as you might be, as well coached as you might be, it's just hard to do that every year. 13-4, and then you saw the stat on the final drive that they put up there. Last year they were 5-1 in games that they were decided by 3 points or less, or a touchdown. I
think it was 3.
3 points or less. So that is a razor's edge. And Randy Bullock made a lot of big field goals last year. The one that he missed was a one that would have tied the game against the Jets. So they could have been easily 5-0-1 if he made that. But you got to be perfect. It's hard to be perfect in games like that, and they finally stumbled in that. Now, is that a harbinger for things to come? We'll see.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to put this. I'm not going to put this all on Randy Bullock. I think there are a lot of people to blame for the loss yesterday. You got to make that kick. I'm not going to give him a pass by any means. Like you got to make that kick. but he should have never been in that position. And that's the thing that is frustrating to me is, you let that big run happen. Christian Fulton is still looking for Shepard. Like, he got absolutely destroyed on that play. So you're still, you got to look at the young secondary that Derek has been bringing up quite a bit. And then I look at the play calling. Some of the play calls, this offense is so freaking predictable. And then you have Derrick Henry, who notoriously starts slow, but I didn't think he looked awful yesterday. I mean, I thought as the game went on, he got much better. I don't understand on a 3rd and 1 why you get cute and do an end around to Chigakonkwo and not just hand the ball to Henry and let him bulldoze up the middle. There were the Wildcat play doesn't bother me as much because it still was Henry and Henry was the focal point. The timing of it, I think, is questionable. But that goes back to some things last year with Todd Downing of just his play calling. And I would love this stat. What are the first 10 to 12 plays of every game? Scripted, right? They all script those plays. You watch the opening drive for the Titans, that's scripted. And what'd they do? They marched right downfield, and they scored a touchdown. I loved the use of Dontrell Hilliard on that. He had 2 touchdowns on the day. But I've noticed as the game goes on, when you actually have to adjust and you have to game plan as the game moves on, that's where Todd Downing struggles. And, again, I'm not firing anybody today, but it is something that concerns me. It has concerned me going back to last year, and it's going to continue to concern me moving forward.
I'm going to take a different tact on this. I am not going to look at the play calling in week number 1. I know he is getting picked apart. I've listened to a lot of the show. I listened to a lot of our morning show. I knew that's what you were going to come with today. And, look.
Unpredictable, too.
Todd Downing is going to be under the microscope until, just like every offensive coordinator. But in my mind, it's not the play as much as, maybe sometimes. I mean, he's got to take his share of the blame. But I'm going through right now, Chase, you're looking at what I'm doing on my sheet. When you get – they were 3 for 11 on 3rd down.
Yeah, that's not good.
But it's not just that. It's 3rd and 3. It's 3rd and 1. It's 3rd and 2. It's 3rd and 5. It's 3rd and 4. These are plays that you should get. I don't care what the play is. If you just execute the play, I just don't think these are every time just a bad play call. It's easy to say, hey, the end around to Chigakonkwo. What are you doing? Why not just give it to Derrick Henry right up the middle? Everybody would – now, if he goes and pops that for 10, 15 yards, nobody is saying, well, I don't know what they were doing with that Chigakonkwo. It's complete.
See, I don't know.
It's 100%.
I don't know.
Monday morning quarterback. That is a Monday morning quarterback take.
No, I don't think it is. I think even if the play had worked –
oh, yeah, you would have been sitting here today.
Yes, I would have. I'm like, look, he got lucky that worked. I don't know what he's doing there.
Got lucky? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know what he's doing? We all have praised Chigakonkwo, his athleticism.
Sure.
He can run.
But that's not the point to be cute. And that's exactly what that was. That was a cute, creative play call. And I have no problem with creativity. It's the timing of it.
It's not the timing of it. It's the execution of it. They miss those plays all day. That 5 to 80% of the time, and they went almost over in those. It was brutal.
Okay, you're right. You do have to execute that, and don't you think at this point, and you can't sit here and say, "Well, it worked in practice." Practice doesn't mean anything. It at the end of the day, it's got to work in the game. If it's not going to work in the game, and we knew all the questions going into this game offensively. You have a lot of young, inexperienced players. Derek has decreed, and I'm going to give him crap for this when he gets on the show. He doesn't want to talk about A.J. Brown. We have to talk about A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown balled out yesterday. Julio Jones looked good yesterday. That you can't ignore that. And so if you're Todd Downing and you're wanting to run all these cute and fancy plays, you have to know the personnel that you have and know where you're at in their development. I don't know if Chigakonkwo can run that play. I have no idea. How would he? He's a rookie. I think he's very athletic. I think he has a very bright future. But you know what you have in 22. Just give him the damn ball. That's how I feel. We're fired up. I like this. This is how this show's going to be. But I don't know. I'm going to continue to have questions about Todd Downing until he can show me otherwise. I'm not firing him today. I'm not saying anybody needs to get fired today. I'm just saying where some blame needs to be spread for the loss yesterday. I will tell you coming up next, though, Willie, one person that I will not blame and nobody should blame for yesterday's loss. We'll do that next. We are live at Vanderbilt Legends Club today taking your reaction to the Titans' 21-20 loss to the New York Giants. 615-737-1025. That is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can call or you can text. More of that next. But first, Willie, tell us about QC Kinetics.
All right, let's go QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, hey, we're out here at Brent Peterson's golf tournament. I know there's probably a lot of people that love playing golf that are already out there golfing today, are going to be coming out this afternoon to support Brent. You want to be at full throttle for this. You want to be at your best. And as you get older, maybe there's some joint pain that is starting to creep up into your joints, whether it be your shoulders, your back, your hips, all of that stuff. And QC Kinetics has some things that can help you here. It's called real lasting relief from chronic pain in those joints. Regenerative treatments, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. So if you've been hindered, if you're coming out to this golf tournament today, or maybe you're going out to play golf somewhere else, it is a beautiful day. It is perfect today. And you're saying to yourself, boy, I hope my elbow holds up, or I hope my back holds up. Well, you might not know about QC Kinetics, but they're here for you, and they've got a free consultation. So find out about these new exciting ways of dealing with joint pain, not the traditional ways. Call QC Kinetics. That might be for you. 615-249-4024. You hear Emmett Smith talking about it all the time. 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. That's 615-249-4024.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willy, and D-Mase to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar and Davidoff Cigars on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 23rd through 25th, take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Morgan Cox, the snapper. Rookie Ryan Stonehouse, the holder. The kick by Bullock is on the way. Oh, and it is no good! Giants leave a season opener for the first time in 6 years with a win.
There you go, the call on Fox as the Titans lose to the Giants 21-20 back here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. We're live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club in Franklin for the Brent Peterson Golf Tournament here today, and we will talk more about that as we go on. But taking your calls and your texts, your reaction to the Titans' loss at 615-737-1025. Before we get into the missed field goal, because Randy Bullock does not get a pass in any of this, I want to make something very clear. And, Willie, feel free to push back if you think I'm wrong. But as we're playing the blame game and the Titans lost today, I am not blaming Ryan Tannehill. I didn't think he was perfect. I thought, of course, and look, I don't expect him to be. He is what he is. But I thought that Ryan Tannehill played a solid game. He made some big plays. He took care of the football, and he did everything that you were asking him to do. You know, can you make the argument, all right, he needs to be quicker there on that last drive that set up the field goal. They wasted the timeout. Okay, I can live with that. I can agree with you on that. But I don't think Ryan Tannehill lost them the game.
No, I think he did fine, but I think it's an overall collective today. I'm looking at the collective and not as much at individuals, although we'll get around to talking about Derrick Henry too and what we think we're going to see from him, because that could go a number of different ways based on what we saw yesterday. But I just saw a game that came down to the things that you hear Mike Vrabel talk about all the time. I will guarantee you, when we hear his press conference today and we're listening, he's going to talk about red zone. He's going to talk about the defense giving up not just explosive plays, but home run huge plays. They gave up 3 home runs yesterday, and all 3 of them led to the Giants didn't score any other way. That's the game right there. And he's going to talk about third down conversions. So third down conversions, red zone, explosive plays. That's the game.
Right.
And so Ryan Tannehill played a solid game. Could have been better. Certainly could have been worse. He got him down there. And you expect that a field goal kicker will make it. But you hit one little thing, right? And we're getting into the nitpicking. But when you're a team that has to win the close games, this team isn't going to run everybody out of the building. And it's disappointing that they could not run the Giants out of their own building in the first week. But it's going to happen sometimes. How do you win? You do the little things. They made a great play to get themselves into field goal position, right? Kyle Phillips makes the really nice catch. But what in the world was going on from the time he made that catch to not getting into the huddle until there's about 12 seconds left? I don't know what happened. I'm hoping they ask this question at the press conference. I don't know if we'll get the answer or not. But they have one timeout. They're in a great position with 18 seconds left to have another opportunity to get closer and still have a timeout in their pocket.
Yep.
But what happens? They get into the huddle way late. Why? I don't know.
I don't know. And that's where you can put something on Tannehill. But he's got to have.
There's a whole process that has to happen.
Sure.
It's the offensive
They
play
got to come off the
caller,
sideline.
it's the personnel. But in a 2-minute drill, the play clock starts. He's out of bounds. There's 40 seconds on the play clock. You got time. What was going on? From the TV feed, all you can see is they're showing the replay, and then they return to a shot of Ryan Tannehill with about 12 seconds left on the play clock, and he still doesn't have the play. He's looking at the sideline.
Then that's Downing.
Well, I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, how would I not know? Downing's the play caller.
You can't make that assumption. Maybe the microphone went out. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could have happened. Maybe the wrong people are on the field, but the bottom line is the Titans didn't get into the huddle until there was about 12 seconds left. Suddenly, there's this urgency to get out, and by the time Ryan Tannehill's looking up at the ball to maybe even try to start calling signals, he knows there's about 3 seconds left, and they have to call and burn the last time out. That's bad enough. And at that point, you're still at a 44-yard field goal, okay? You burn your timeout. Not the end of the world. 18 seconds left. So what do they do during the timeout? They decide they want the ball on the right hash. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan Tannehill and the team, this is what they come out of there with. Ryan Tannehill loses 3 yards on the play. The ball is moved back 3 yards with him going and falling on the ball 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then they get up and they spike it, which they ran fine. But instead of having 18 seconds and a timeout and a chance to make a 44-yard field goal, maybe a 40-yard field goal, maybe a 38-yard field goal, maybe a 42-yard field goal, every yard matters in that situation. I don't know what happened with the play call, but I also don't understand. I understand that your kicker prefers the ball on that hash, but it's not worth losing 3 yards. Now slow down the kick. Watch the ball. Is that kick good from 44?
Probably.
It might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't prove it, but it wasn't wide by much. But it just shows you that there's a difference between hitting from 40. We're all under the assumption the kickers are perfect. They should never miss. But when it's 47 yards, it's not a gimme. And yesterday, kickers had a rough day. All right? There was a lot of kickers that missed. So you're in this mode of our kicker should never miss, but you got to give him as much help as you can give him. That kick might have been good. He has more margin for error from 42 or 44 than he does from 47. And so they goofed up the last couple plays there. That was a mistake.
No, I cannot agree with you more.
But I can't tell you who screwed up, but I know that in a 2-minute drill, when you got a timeout left, they're in a great position to add to it. Get a few more yards. Run it right up the middle if you want to, or run it to the right if you want to get the ball. But they didn't get a playoff. They had to burn the last time out. That was huge. Huge.
At the end of the day, it's going to fall on the head coach because that's how that works. And I didn't think Vrabel and he admitted this, I didn't think Vrabel had a very good day coaching. I just think he got out-coached yesterday. His staff got out-coached yesterday.
Based on the result of the game?
Based on the result of the game. Well, I'm basically being him.
But
I'm talking like him.
Well, he's always going to take the blame, as he should.
Okay.
But
everything you
where
just
is he screwed up?
Everything you just named.
Right. That's where
at the end of that's on the coaching staff.
I think that's on the coaching staff. What else?
Okay.
When you say
I
he
would
was
say,
out-coached.
well, I mean, play calling overall is going to fall on him because he's the head coach and he decides who calls the plays. And we just talked about some of the play calling and it being questionable. The run defense, I know he's going to take blame for that because that's his bread and butter, being a defensive-minded coach. And we know how involved he is with that.
The home run plays were huge.
That was bad.
Huge.
Now, I know, and we're going to get to your phones. A lot of you want to weigh in, 615-737-1025. So be patient. We'll get to you for sure. But I know that Derek's going to bring up, did the run defense suffer because Landry wasn't there? It didn't help. But I still think that they got enough personnel that they should not have allowed the type of explosive plays that Saquon Barkley got in the run game.
Well, it's interesting when you're talking about a defense that had 4 sacks in the first half. They caused a fumble. They did a lot of really good things. But it shows you the importance, and we talked about this last week, the importance that the trend in the NFL, do not give up the home run plays. If you can contain offenses, and I saw a ton of games yesterday where you can see that principle at play. We'll give you the short stuff. We'll give you the underneath stuff. You got to move the ball 10 yards at a time. We are not going to give you a 50-yard run. We're not going to give you a deep play. The Titans played a very good defensive game except for the 3 plays, the 2 long runs by Barkley and the bomb to Shepard.
Yep.
If they just don't allow one of those, they probably win the game. But it shows you how big those plays are, those home runs.
Well, and to that point, they had more explosive plays than you did. You know, Henry's best play was the 18-yard run, and that was it. Now, there are some people on the text line that saying he wasn't very good. I'm not going to go that far. I thought he was average for him, but he starts slow, and he didn't play in the preseason. We hardly saw him practice. So
I think
I don't think anybody 82 yards. While that may be considered pedestrian for him, I don't think it was all that bad.
I still think there are big questions on whether he can carry a team the way he used to, and he's going to have to prove that. And
Hilliard,
everybody will tell you that Derrick Henry's had some slow starts to the season. He's looked very pedestrian in some opening weeks, sometimes even the opening months before he really cranks it up. But that didn't answer any of the questions. And Hilliard looked great. I do think
he's a weapon.
That is one of the biggest questions: is can they make up if Derrick Henry's down even a half a notch? Where do they make up for it? Especially not having A.J. Brown, and that is going to linger. That question.
Coming up next, we will get to your phones. A lot of you want to weigh in and comment on the Titans. You feel free to call or text at 615-737-1025. That is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club today, taking your reaction to the Titans' 21-20 loss to the New York Giants. Willie, tell us about Lone Pronto.
All right, let's talk Lone Pronto. And, I've been talking about these guys a lot. If you're getting hit hard with higher costs, this summer we know about the gas prices and the higher cost for everything. Interest rates and things might be creeping up on you. Maybe some credit card rates going up on you and you're piling up some debt. If you want to wipe out some debt, or maybe you just got other needs for your money. Maybe there are tuitions to pay. Maybe there are car loans out there, and you just want to get that debt down. Well, it's time to call Lone Pronto because they can help you. If you're a homeowner, home equity can rescue you right now, get you out of trouble, or you can use it to hit the gas pedal and reinvest in your home, things like that. Homes values are way up. You know that. There's a ton of cash that you can get right now. So Lone Pronto specializes in this area, the zero-cost cash-out home refi. You can get tens of thousands of dollars in as little as just a couple of weeks. So call right now and find out if they can help you. There's a lot of different things they can do with you. Don't wait. Call Lone Pronto. You can even skip your next couple of house payments altogether. 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, football fans, Dak Prescott here. And I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Hey, folks, Joe Rexford here. Listen, to do the job I do, I got to stay on the move, and sometimes that can catch up to me. Even when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body, and that's why I use the high-quality and wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. OrderGreen.com is the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, and man, I'm in Tennessee, but it makes me feel like I'm in Colorado, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Save 25% now on every shipment of gummies with a subscription. That's OrderGreen.com. Subscribe to save 25% on gummies.
It's time for another Kubota Field event hosted by Coleman Tractor of Nashville. Our biggest sales event of the year takes place on Thursday, September 15th at the Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot. Don't miss this perfect opportunity to demo tractors, zero-turn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers. Receive a coupon for up to $250. Plus, enter to win an Orca cooler. Try it and buy it at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot for Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field event, Thursday, September 15th. The event kicks off at 7:30 a.m.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. you're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Join us for the Tuesday edition of Robbie and Rexrow. We'll continue to break down the Titans' loss to the New York Giants. Caroline Fenton drops by at 7 o'clock to discuss a wild weekend in college football as well. It all starts at 6 o'clock, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Why the issues with the clock in terms of the delays?
You know what? That one, the one down in the red zone, that was clearly on me. Those are critical. The team bailed me out. Just was trying to look at the formation, make sure that we were in the right formation. And normally I would obviously, use a timeout. And then we just know how critical those timeouts are. Team bailed us out, and then we needed all the timeouts that we could, to put ourselves in position there at the end.
There you go, Mike Vrabel on the clock issue at the end of the game. And I don't know if I buy that answer, but
well, you don't get the detail that you need in there to really know, and he knows a lot more than he's saying. He may choose to not say it again today. We may never know the answer, but that was a huge missed opportunity. Now, if they line up for a 47-yard field goal 10 times to win a game on the line, what's a reasonable in the conditions, right? And let's say good snap, good hold, which was a big issue in the Bengals game, right? Their long snapper got hurt, and that cost them the game. But there was a lot of Ryan Stonehouse, but the snap and the hold were perfect. Is that an 8 out of 10? Is that a 7 out of 10? Is that a 9 out of 10? What do you expect from Randy Bullock there?
I think that's probably
47 yards.
70 to 75% of the time he makes that.
Yeah,
if you line him up,
an NFL kicker should make it in good conditions.
Yeah,
at least that many.
Like
times.
if they line that up again, right after he misses it, he probably makes it.
Right. So my point would be, it was 44 before they had to go backwards 3 yards, and I don't know what the design is of that. But I don't understand why you have to go back 3 yards to get the ball on the right hash. But if it's a 42-yard field goal, maybe it goes from 7 out of 10 to 8 out of 10, right? But, again, we're coming down to the field goal. If it comes down to that, you don't win every time, even though we're so used to seeing them hit it.
Right, but you should have never been in that position. He should have never been in that position to have to make that field goal.
I agree.
That's why I don't blame him. Yes, you want him to make that kick. He needs to make that kick. I just said 70 to 75% of the time.
I know, but they're not a juggernaut.
No,
they haven't been the last couple of years, but they've been winning these games.
I understand
last year,
that,
the Saints
they were
game,
up 13-0. If you look at the first half of the game,
more than that.
They should have been up more than that. If you look at the first half of the game, you're sitting there going, all right, you keep doing this. Don't take your foot off the gas. You'll be fine. You'll get out of here with a win. But you didn't. You let them hang around like a pesky little ant or whatever, and they hung around, and then they burnt you on big plays.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where I get frustrated. Yep. All right, the people want to speak.
You should be frustrated. If you're not frustrated, I'm frustrated. Everybody's frustrated.
Yeah, people are telling me I'm fired up today. That's what I'm trying to do. 615-737-1025, our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Austin wants to weigh in on Randy Bullock. Austin, welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. So my point here is, why do we continue to neglect that position of kicker? I mean, I agree, Willie, like Brady got dealt a horrible hand yesterday with just baffling game and clock management. But that being said, like, he had some big misses last year. Also, a few decent kicks that won us some games. But the same thing has happened the last 2 years with all of this kicker drama, ever since we lost Suckup for some reason. And I get that it had cap implications, but you also fixed an issue at punter that didn't really need to be fixed. And yet we still ignore field goal issues. Why doesn't J-Rob go out and just get a reliable kicker?
Like who?
Been constant.
Who would be the guy?
Could have gotten somebody.
Blankenship?
He struggled too, Austin.
Did you see the Blankenship kick in overtime yesterday?
I did.
Yeah.
But there's got to be better options than just continuing to ignore it.
They didn't ignore it. It took them a long time to find Bullock. Would you admit that Bullock was pretty good last year?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Slow start, but yeah.
Kickers are not perfect. Slow start last year?
Yeah, he missed a couple early on, but then he got solid.
But we talked about it. A kicker is expected to hit between 80 or 83%.
Thanks, Austin.
83% field goals is the going rate. That's exactly what Randy Bullock was last year, and he made all but one big kick. What were the big kicks he missed last year? The Jets game, yes. What else?
Jets. I'd have to go back and look, Willie, to be honest with you. I mean,
okay, but we just talked about it. They were 5-1 in games decided by 3 points or less. He hit a lot of big kicks, and he hit at 83%. So it's not Bullock.
No,
not yet.
Look,
now, if the next 2 weeks they're in that situation and he misses another one or two, yeah. But let's not open up the drama.
I've been sitting here saying that I'm not blaming Randy Bullock because he never should have been in that position. That's how I look at it.
But they've had a lot of games like that where they've found a way to win one way or the other, but the margin of error is small.
He was 4 of 5 against Seattle. That was his first game.
83. What was the percentage? 83%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going through it. He's 83.9%, almost 84% if you round up. So, look, he's solid. He's fine.
He's good.
615-737-1025. Steven, welcome in.
He's below solid in my opinion. I mean, I know that's not what I meant to call about, but like he can't. 47 yards is not much to most kickers at all, and that drives me nuts about him. When you get around 50 yards, it's like, oh man, I don't know if he can make it. And that was his problem last year too. But anyways, Todd Downing is the issue, has been the issue, and there's a reason he was fired from the Raiders, because Todd Downing sucks. Plain and simple, his play callings are terrible. That 3rd and 1 was egregious. One of the worst plays I've seen in a long time. You have Derrick Henry. It's 3rd and 1. It's not about the execution. It's just stupid to do something crazy right there when you have Derrick Henry to run it right up the gut. The defense gave you the ball more times than you needed in the first half, and we only put up 13 points. That's because it's Todd Downing, and he's not good. If you change Todd Downing with Arthur Smith, I guarantee you we blow out the Giants yesterday.
Arthur Smith isn't coming back.
There's nothing you can do about that.
But
I know.
agree
I'm
with
just saying, if mentally, if you swap those guys out and be like, man, if we hit Arthur Smith yesterday, do you think the game would have been as close as what it was, or do you think we would have maybe scored more?
Well, does Arthur Smith have A.J. Brown?
Nope.
No, he doesn't. But I mean, he has.
Well,
Kyle Phillips,
I'm saying you got to take all the variables. You have a rookie wide receiver. You got a rookie tight end. You've got two. You got maybe your best receiver was a rookie wide receiver. There's a lot of things that are different variables than when we last saw Arthur Smith. And taking nothing away, he was awesome. He was awesome. But let's give it a little time here, because I think Todd Downing. No question, you can second guess everything on a Monday where you lose by 1, but I'm not going to say just overall he's a bad play caller. I think I want to see the players come through a little bit better. When it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, they missed a ton of 3rd down conversions where they had momentum. Like they're up 20-13 on a couple of drives, and they missed the 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. Opening drive, second half, 3rd and 1. They go to the Wildcat and don't get it. Like there was just countless times in the game where they're one score away really from putting the game away completely.
Right.
Several different drives, and they missed the 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. That is a killer.
And some of those decisions are going to fall on him. I mean, they just are. And he brings up Arthur Smith. Look. There were times that we were taking calls about Arthur Smith early on that people were going, I don't know. Now, then they make the quarterback change. Ironically, that's his quarterback now in Atlanta, and Marcus Mariota. But they make the quarterback change. Tannehill really comes in, and things just click. And then Arthur Smith, a couple of years later, is the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. It gets him a job. Todd Downing, it's been inconsistent. Would you agree that it's been inconsistent? Would you at least give me that?
Yes.
We're going to go back and forth on this, but that's the concern, that if it's inconsistent in his first 8 games of his career, okay, but he had been a play caller before. Arthur Smith had not. So at this point, as we're in year 2 and you're still seeing a lot of the same things, yes, I will give you that he doesn't have A.J. Brown anymore. He has a rookie receiver in Treylon Burks, who I didn't think looked awful. They should have used him more. I don't know why he wasn't on the field at the end of the game.
I think Derek has been talking about
that's a big
why
question.
he's not on the field as much. Is
Was
because
he not on
doesn't
the
understand the plays.
Was he not on the field because, like Julio Jones, because he wasn't physically able to be on the field, or was he not on the field because they chose not to put him on the field?
I think they feel like that's where he is right now. Now,
well, if they chose not to put him on the field, then that's on them, and that's a dumb decision.
Not if he doesn't know the plays. I think what we don't know is.
Well, when I saw him, he looked like he knew the plays.
What did Derek say throughout the preseason as to why he wasn't on the field? He doesn't have the understanding of the offense yet. Now, it's going to happen over time, and it needs to happen fast because he's the best that they've got in terms of being able to strike a little fear in a defense. This offense doesn't really have that guy right now. He is the best hope. Maybe Hilliard.
Well, Kyle Phillips was the best hope yesterday because that's the guy that kept going to.
He did a good job, but he's not a scary guy. He's not going to hit home runs. He's not going to.
Where was Robert Woods? Where was Austin Hooper? Why weren't they being used?
And we talked about new guys in new roles. It takes some time. And I think Robert Woods, I think there's question over time whether he can be the same guy. Like, is he going to get stronger as the year goes along? Can he get more separation? I didn't see him open very much yesterday, but we'll see.
Well, I am curious if Vrabel gets asked that today. Real quick, let's squeeze in Alan. He's been waiting very patiently. Alan, welcome in.
Hey, y'all do a great job. I'm not ready to throw the Titans under the bus, but I got two questions. I'd like to hear y'all's comment, and I'll hang up. Like, how many pass attempts in the NFL over 30 yards is the average, and how many did we throw? Because that's one thing. I've had a season ticket since we played in the Liberty Bowl. And number two is, it seems like to me, I'm not talking about the last 2 minutes of the game, that Tannehill is taking a whole lot of time getting the ball snapped. And I just want to hear y'all comment on that. Thank you very much. Y'all do a wonderful job.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate the call.
I did think there were a lot of plays yesterday where the play clock got down inside of 3 seconds. And maybe that's a little sharpness they've got to get better at. I do wonder internally if that's something. And we talked about how much it cost them on the last drive. As far as throwing the ball down the field, I think it goes towards what we've talked about a lot. Two high safeties. Most of the time, defenses do not want to give you the deep ball to start with, and the Titans don't really have the speedster. That is what they have lacked for a number of years.
Well, and the guy closest to that is on the practice squad right now, was not available yesterday, and Josh Gordon. They did not activate him. You do wonder if that's going to be in the game plan for Week 2 on Monday night against Buffalo. We'll continue to – a ton of texts are coming through, ton of phone calls, 615-737-1025. Your reaction to the Titans' loss to the Giants yesterday, 21-20 at Nissan Stadium. They fall to 0-1 to start the year. We'll continue that reaction next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a cool start this morning, the afternoon takes us into the upper 70s, and that is where we stop. Well below average, low humidity. We are loaded with sunshine. No significant rain chances until the end of this upcoming week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Psst. Something's hatching at the Nashville Fair. 4 nights, 4 bands, and 4 themes. Come on out to Nashfest 2022, presented by Nashville Soccer Club. Enjoy live music, games, food, and signature drinks. All 4 festivals are free with fair admission. Eat local and drink local, where locals play. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
615-737-1025. Back here, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. We're live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club today for the Brent Peterson Golf Tournament. D-Mase is going to join for the second half of the show. Willy will go play. They don't ask me to play, and that's probably wise. They've heard about my golf game. So I don't know if they've seen it, but they've heard about it. So that's fine. That's no worries.
And just for people that are wondering, I do have the proper footwear. Thanks to the last time we played golf. I did purchase the shoes.
Yeah,
for the Stars tournament, and so I'm good to go footwear-wise today.
Henry,
no duct tape.
Henry was asking about that, if you had gotten proper footwear.
Yes, I was motivated. I was inspired by you guys to take care of that. I was going to take the course with the duct tape on the shoes, and you guys said, wait a minute. No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. And so now –
yeah, Henry actually said, who cares why the Titans lost? The real question is, does Willy have decent shoes for the golf tournament?
Okay, good. I'm glad Henry's checking on me.
All right, 615-737-1025. Joe on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, says this. I found this interesting. The lack of not converting third and short is a huge indicator of not having Roger Saffold. And we were just talking during the break about the offensive line. Pass protection, I thought they were okay. I didn't think that. I thought Tannehill had time. The run scheme, though, that's where I worried. And Roger Saffold, that was his bread and butter, was run blocking.
Yes, and I think that's a fair thing to point out. I didn't think they were bad yesterday, the offensive line. But I also think that they're about to see some very tough defensive fronts starting next Monday that are going to make it even harder for the offensive line. But this is going to be my theme for the day. Remember how disastrous last year's first game was. Remember how disastrous a couple other openers have been. The teams, what a good team does is they get better and they figure out some of the things they've got to figure out over time or in time to still have a good season. And so how it looks in week 1 is hopefully not how it's going to look in week 4, week 8, week 12. And so that's going to be the key for this team. And unfortunately, they dropped one that they should have won yesterday during this process. But adjusting to having Aaron Brewer as your left guard was going to be an adjustment. He had a couple holding penalties. He's not. Yeah, but they called him.
They did.
Yeah,
one okay.
I agree.
The second one.
I agree. There's a randomness, but I think when you're young, they're probably going to look for it, and they probably don't give you the benefit of the doubt. So there's going to be an adjustment. It's going to be different with him at guard as opposed to Roger Saffold. It's going to be different with Petit Frere as your right tackle as opposed to Quesenberry. This is all, and how quick can you gel with that group?
Something you just brought up, Kyle said on our text line, I'm wondering if Week 1 football is basically a fourth preseason game. This is the first time the entire team has played. It showed all over the league. I'm very interested to see how they bounce back next week. I think that's a fair point from Kyle that especially it's not even that it's the fourth preseason game. I don't think losing the fourth preseason game really had anything to do with this. It's the fact that coaches around the league have gotten too careful and they're not playing anybody anymore. Like you're seeing, and you'll hear veteran, and I know Derek will say this too. Derek later in his career said, I didn't need the preseason. I knew what I needed to do to get ready. Maybe I could take one preseason game, but you're not even seeing that anymore. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, they didn't play the entire preseason. I don't even know I think Woods may have played the last game. I can't remember at this point. But
regardless, the first game is that there's some things that happen around the league that will tease you, and you think, well, this means X.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always indicate that at all. There's so much overreaction around the league in Week 1. Think about Dallas today. Think about Green Bay today. Think about San Francisco today. There's a lot of teams going, what the heck happened? I thought we had this planned in the offseason, and Week 1 was a total disaster.
Yeah.
So the Titans are in that club.
615-737-1025. Teron Davenport going to join us here in about 5 minutes, but Josh wants to give his opinion of the Titans as of now. Josh, welcome in.
Hey, how's it going, fellas? He preaches all this hard mentality, this tough mentality, and then he coaches soft. And he lets, Todd Downing coach soft, and there's no killer mentality, and coming from Bill Belichick and they run up 59 points on us one game, you know what I mean? And I just don't see it with him. He just don't act like it.
To that point, Josh, Mike Vrabel doesn't have a ton of players that are like Mike Vrabel, and Bill Belichick did. And so I'm not.
I disagree. I disagree.
Okay. Jeffrey Simmons. All right, I'll give you that. Jeffrey Simmons is, Vrabel-type mindset. But I guess the way to put it is, what players truly put fear in you like Belichick had with those Patriot teams that Vrabel was on?
Are you talking about on defense?
Just across the board.
Derrick Henry,
well, even on the offensive, even letting Todd Downey, call plays that are just soft, just
such as
running. How passing opens up the run. We don't do that at all. You know what I mean? We don't even try it, even attempt it. Even giving Derrick Henry
that
the
soft
ball,
passing to set up the run is hard-nosed play. I'm confused on what your point is. Coaching, I just don't buy it. I think this was a pretty tough team last year. Pretty tough, tight-knit team, won the close games.
91 players.
91 players. I don't think they turned into a soft team overnight.
Yeah, I don't know if I can completely buy that, Josh. I think I see where you're trying to go, and thanks for the call. I think Vrabel deserves a ton of blame yesterday, and he took it. I mean, he said it in the press conference. I mean, and it was more than the we need to play better, coach better stuff. But, I think that soft, I don't know if I'll go with that. I just don't think he has the players that instill fear in you like they have with the Patriots. Henry, yes. Simmons, yes. Landry before he was hurt, I'd say yes. Bud Dupree could be in that conversation, but tell me who really scares you, especially on offense, outside of 22.
Scared in terms of putting fear and intimidation because of physicality?
Hey, we got to watch out for that guy because he's going to hurt us.
Well, okay, but
that's what I mean by that.
The caller was about soft, like a team that doesn't play hard or a team that isn't tough. You're asking a different question. Is scaring in terms of they could score from anywhere on the field.
Yeah.
They could change the game on the next play. That's a totally different thing.
Well, here's what I mean by it, and we got to go. I mean that Vrabel could maybe coach a little harder or with more of a Belichick type mentality if he had the horses.
What's the Belichick mentality? What is that? Overwhelmed with physicality? I don't understand.
Yeah,
when you say soft,
that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think he's soft. Like I'm not saying he's soft at all. That's not what I'm saying. That's what Josh was saying. I'm trying to find the right word of what I'm interpreting that he meant, and I can't find it. So
I don't know. I think we're overreacting like everybody always does when you lose the first game. Mike Vrabel is a good football coach. It wasn't his best day yesterday. It wasn't the team's best day. They failed the opening act, which they have done before and recovered from, and so that's what they're going to need to do.
All right. We will talk to Teron Davenport coming up next. He was at the game yesterday. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans' loss. Mike Vrabel scheduled to speak at noon. You will hear that. We're live at Vanderbilt Legends Club today here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome Game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willy Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
11 o'clock hour, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club today for Brent Peterson's golf tournament for the Predators Foundation, presented by First Horizon. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick with you. D-Mase will be along here in just a little bit when he's done playing. We say hello now to Teron Davenport, who joins us. He's presented by Crane Works and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit craneworks.com. And TD, not the conversation I was expecting to have with you today, but the Titans fall to 0-1 after losing 21-20 to the New York Giants yesterday. Dayball goes for 2. They get it. They win. And the Titans come away with the loss. A lot of things to unpack from yesterday's game, but I'm going to start with Todd Downing and some of the play calls that he made. I question the Wildcat timing, even though Derrick Henry was the focal point. I question the end around to Chikakonkwo when all you really needed was to hand the ball to Derrick Henry, even though we hadn't seen full-on Derrick Henry yet. I thought he was pretty good, but what did you make of Todd Downing's play calling overall yesterday?
Yeah, well, Todd Downing's in a terrible position because anytime something goes right, the fans are going to say, oh, well, that's Tim Kelly. But when anything goes wrong, they're going to say, oh, that's Todd Downing. So I would hate to be in his spot. As far as the play calling itself, I mean, the Wildcat, it's been a part of something that the Titans have done in short yardage situations. So, I mean, I'm not going to knock them for that. I mean,
I don't hate the Wildcat. I don't hate the Wildcat, TD. I didn't hate
I mean, I'm
that
just
play.
sorting through some of the plays. You know what I mean? But that one, you know, some people have knocked him for that, and it's just like, well, that's something that they've gone to. Derek admitted that what happened was he took his eye off the ball. Now the Okonkwo one, now we could question it. And that's why I asked Mike Vrabel about it after the game. You know, just looking back on it, would you rather just giving the ball to Derrick Henry? And I think sometimes you could get a little cute and try to, you know, do different things. Apparently, from what Mike Vrabel said, that was one of the short yardage plays that they had up and they had really considered for this week, and so that happened. But, I mean, I think overall the main thing that Todd Downing has to do is get away from that consistency of running the football on first down. And it's easy to say from this perspective, but it's a lot harder to do when you know that Derrick Henry is a guy that typically gets you positive yards or put you in good situations later on in the series.
All right, TD, I'm going to preface this one by saying I know it's one game and it's the first game, and maybe I'm going to overreact a little bit, but why did they sign Austin Hooper in the offseason? Could you explain that to me? Because Jeff Swaim got more targets at tight end than anybody, and Austin Hooper had 1 catch for 6 yards.
Yeah, that's a great point because I really felt that Austin Hooper was going to be a guy that was going to be a main part of the passing game. And like you said, it is one game. A couple of those passes to Swaim, because I think they ran the screen twice. And I remember a few times during training camp, you know, seeing them run that screen to him. And I looked at someone else, and they looked at me and were like, I don't know if that's that's necessarily the person you want to run that to. He did get a good gain, a 9-yard gain. I would imagine that was Okonkwo or Hooper. That might have been, especially Okonkwo, that would have been a longer gain. But you're right. You know, 1 target coming on that last drive, you got to find ways to get Hooper the ball more, and I'm sure that's something that they're going to address.
Yeah, because I just feel like he can be a big part of this offense, and we know that Ryan Tannehill likes to check down. Traylon Burks was targeted 5 times, had 3 catches for 55 yards. When he was on the field, hey, I liked what I saw. I didn't understand why he wasn't on the field later in the game when you really needed a big play threat. I know Kyle Phillips was having a good game. They were going to him. But what did you think overall about Traylon Burks?
Yeah, this is one of the times where I'll give credit to Todd Downing because, you know, he had that first get him a touch, right? It's really important just to get your guys touches early in that 7-yard gain. You know, he had Burks come in jet motion and leak out into the flat. Tannehill dumped it to him. That was a good opportunity. And then you had the play action pass, which was, I think, was 27 yards. I think that was the biggest gain the Titans had in the game itself. And those are ways you could get him the football. He showed that he's a guy that will come through for you. So I think he was targeted 5 times. He came down with 3 of them. Yeah, definitely solid for him.
Teron Davenport is with us. So, Teron, as you looked at the 3 big plays that the Giants got, the 2 runs by Barkley and the long pass to Sterling Shepard, I mean, obviously, in this day and age, we know the trend is if you can avoid too many of those plays, your chances of winning go way, way up. The defense played a pretty good game other than those 3 plays, you could argue. So where were the breakdowns there?
Yeah, so it looked like on the Barkley one, he was able to get outside, and there was a cutback for him, and he was able to cut it back, and I think it was Hooker that was right there on the run, and he was able to cut it back, and cut it outside, I think it was, and he hit the boundary, and he just took off, and Byard kind of saved it. The other one, are you talking about the 19-yard run to the right side?
No, the 33-yard run that set up the tying touchdown, and then what ended up being the go-ahead 2-point conversion.
Oh, yeah. That one to the left. That was one of he just simply found the crease. And when you're a guy like Barkley who had that acceleration, you could pull away. So that's really what happened there. And then the Sterling Shepard touchdown, I actually talked to Fulton about that after the game. And it's a tough play. And obviously Fulton could have done better. He got caught looking in the backfield, looking at the quarterback. And that's one of those plays. It's like the back side of the play, right? You had the 3 receivers on the right, and it's kind of like designed to go that direction. And you rarely see the quarterback throw back against like that, especially that far down the field. And that's kind of what happened. And if you remember, Shepard kind of made a move like he was cutting across and then went up the field. And it was just one of those situations where it just happened so quickly, and next thing you know, Fulton was, way behind Shepard, and that's how you got the touchdown.
Yeah, and there was nobody around either. It was one-on-one for sure. So, Teron, I tweeted out a little sequence there on the 2-point conversion where it really looked to me like Danico Autry was being held. But you could also argue that the face mask was grabbed a little bit by who was it? The personnel, Cole.
Yeah,
Cole. Yeah, it was Dylan Cole.
Because Cole shot up there, it looked like he had a chance to get Saquon Barkley there at about the 4 or 5 yard line. I still think Autry could have been there at the 1, ready to meet him with a couple of players to help him. But can you first of all straighten out for some people? I got a lot of reaction to that tweet. One of them was, why is Cole in the game? But you can maybe help explain that personnel package down on the goal line, they have extra linebackers in it. It's not like they took Lawrence Taylor out and put Cole in, but he's an extra guy in there for that package, right?
Yeah. Carl Banks was up there in the booth, so he and Lawrence Taylor, they weren't available. No, you're right. It is the package, right? And Dylan Cole is typically, one of the guys that, it's kind of like a thumper. They like to bring him in. He's good at filling, run fills and all that stuff. And unfortunately, in that situation, he wasn't able to get it done. But that wasn't like something where you would say, hey, that was terrible, execution of the personnel and everything. Nothing was. They had the right package out there.
I did think Autry was held pretty clearly. I had another friend of mine send me a little shot of that 33-yard run you were just talking about that got them down there, that it looked like you could call a hold there. Brewer was called for 2 earlier in the half. There was one on Traylon Burks during the kick return, which was about a 50-yard play, a 50-yard swing, where it was tic-tac. I could see what they called, though. So I didn't think they got a great distribution of the holdings, where, of course, we all know you could probably call a ton of holdings if you want to. But the way it shook out, I thought the Titans came up on the short end there.
Yeah, and you can kind of see why a lot of Titans fans, they don't like the Jerome Bogart crew because there always seems to be this kind of stuff with it. But, that being said, you got to play through all that. And, unfortunately the Titans didn't do that. And there are other things I think were major factors in the loss, but it's always a little more difficult when you're kind of going against the grain as far as getting calls for you.
Teron, let me ask one more for you, Teron, because Mike Vrabel didn't really share a lot of detail, but I don't know if going through the locker room you got a little more explanation. What happened after Phillips made the great catch to get him down there, and they had to take the last time out because they just took way too long to get the play in and get set there? That was costly.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely was costly, and I did ask about that because I was confused myself just as far as what happened. And basically what it was is they were trying to get the ball on the opposite hash there for Bullock to kick it. And then there was a timeout called, and I'm just confused because I know Tannehill kind of scrambled to the right to get it on there. So that's what happened. So they called the timeout so that they could reset it onto the other hash. That's
right.
What happened there.
But they were going to take a delay of game. Like they should have run that play. They had a chance to run a play and then call a timeout.
Yeah.
And they had they took way
I think
too
they had
long
a shot
to
at
get
the end
to
zone.
the huddle. Well, I don't know about the end. You don't need the end zone, but if you got 5 more yards,
if it's a safe throw,
if you got 5 more yards, that becomes an even easier field goal. And instead, they end up taking the timeout and going 3 yards back to set the ball.
Yeah, you make it an easier field goal for your kicker. I think that's something that you always want to do. And I was surprised that they didn't do that because, I mean, look, in this day and age, a 58 or a 47-yard field goal should absolutely be, a high percentage makeable kick, and especially Bullock was drilling those consistently in camp. But I still feel that what you need to do is increase your probability, increase your chances by getting closer. So you're right there. I'm not sure why you would take the delay. Like I wouldn't by any means try to push it into a 50-yard field goal attempt. That's not the direction I would have went. But, I'm watching and they're coaching. So I'm sure they had their reasons that they felt were valid.
All right, TD, I know you're headed to the facility for the press conference, but I got one more for you. This is not an indictment of Aaron Brewer, even though he got called for a couple of questionable holding calls, but he did get called for 2 penalties. But how much did the run game miss Roger Saffold yesterday? Because I thought that Henry looked okay. He did not look in tip-top Derrick Henry form yet. People say the slow start, that's a lame excuse, but it's a fact. But I think Saffold was greatly missed in the run protection.
Yeah, he was missed. I mean, I'm not going to say all of the times that Henry was hit behind the line of scrimmage were on Brewer, or even most of them. I'm going to go back and look at some of the end zone part of it to really get a better feel for that. But, I mean, you could definitely say that Saffold was missed because he was probably their best run blocker. But there were a few times where, some other things factored in. You had some guys coming off the edge. And you got to remember, this Wink Martindale, he kind of has I don't want to say the formula, but he has, like, the layout, as far as, those safeties up there, mugging the gaps. And, I mean, he didn't do as much of the overload blitzes or stuff like that, but he still did, some run blitzes to get there and get to Henry behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, in the first half, 34 of his 56 yards came after contact. So that lets you know right there that he was consistently getting hit, behind the line of scrimmage.
All right, TD, appreciate the time. We'll be listening to some of the questions that you have to ask Mike Vrabel coming up at noon, but appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the golf.
Teron Davenport, presented by Craneworks and RentalWorks, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit craneworks.com. He joins us every Monday at 11. Talking with TD's the podcast on Wednesdays, and also he's a part of the TD Power Hour Thursdays at 3 and joins the morning show at 8 on Fridays. Coming up next, can the Titans continue to win with an okay passing game? We'll discuss that coming up next and continue to take your calls, 615-737-1025. We're live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club today here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
Life stresses can take a toll on your mind, body, and spirit, but there are simple, enjoyable remedies that may help aid these, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. So excited to be talking to you about the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, OrderGreen.com. Their wide selection of THC and CBD products will ensure you find a fit for your needs with discreet, same-day shipping nationwide. For me, for inflammation, for stress relief, it's a tremendous product. That's right, THC, CBD, right to your doorstep. Use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com.
Race fans, Nashville's legendary racetrack, the Fairgrounds Speedway, features their Pro Late Model Twin 50s, Saturday night, September 17th. Awesome racing action with the Pro Late Models, the Outlaw Late Models, Limited Late Models, Street Stocks, Pure Stocks, Front Runners, Legends, and Bandoleros. Get your tickets today at NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing and experience local racing's best at Nashville's legendary track. Get your tickets today. That's NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
I love this show. Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm ready to step this up a notch. You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
This was one of the more balanced passing attacks that I've seen from you guys. Is it different, like when you don't have like that dominant top number one as opposed to now like when you have a group of solid pass catchers?
Yeah, we got a good group of guys, and I think over the course of training camp, we've kind of built that trust across the room. And it's going to take all those guys making plays. There's going to be some games where, one guy gets a few more targets than the other guys. But over the course of this season, that's going to, shift and ebb and flow depending on the game. So we're going to need all those guys in that room to come up big for us at different times this year.
Ryan Tannehill yesterday after the 21-20 loss to the New York Giants, talking about his pass catchers. Welcome back in. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. You're welcome to call or text. Give your reaction to the Titans' loss. 615-737-1025, our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick hanging out with you at the Vanderbilt Legends Club. That, I think, has been our concern since the moment they traded A.J. Brown. And, look, A.J. Brown had a big day yesterday, dominated the Lions in his debut for the Eagles. Julio Jones had a nice game last night for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both are gone now. Julio is non-existent really with the Titans A.J., of course, got hurt and the whole contract thing. They decided to move on. But do I think the Titans have what can be a solid group of pass catchers? Sure. But they don't have that dominant guy right now, today, that scares you and puts the fear into a defense like they would if they still had A.J. Brown. I still agree with the decision. I know what you're going to bring up. You're going to bring up our question.
Yep.
Would you reset? Would you go and do it over again? I would do the same thing that they ended up doing because I think in the long run it's probably going to be the right move because yesterday was one game.
Yep.
For both sides, but it is certainly worth talking about, and you can't ignore it because Traylon Burks was only targeted 5 times, caught 3, had 55 yards. Your late-round pick and Kyle Phillips was your leading receiver, targeted 9 times, had 6 catches for 66 yards, including a beautiful one where Ryan Tannehill threads the needle. But Robert Woods, I think he was targeted twice, had 1 catch. That was it. You got to get them more involved, and somebody is going to have to step up and be that go-to guy.
And this is where if you thought it was going to be perfect in week 1, I think that was unrealistic expectations. You were hoping it would be good enough to beat the Giants, and it was not. But going forward, to me, it is still my biggest question. If Derrick Henry is not a savior, right, and no longer maybe the best non-quarterback in the NFL offensively, which he has been, then how do you make up for it? Going forward, they made the decision. Just remember, I asked the question before the season started. If you could have a do-over and go back and undo the A.J. Brown trade, could you do it? Our listeners overwhelmingly said no. Go with what you got. It was over 70% said, or it's like 75-25. Stay with what you did.
Yep.
They agreed with it. So this is what you have. But it is still my big question is, can the offense be effective enough? And you heard Ryan Tannehill talking about committee. They're going to have to do it by committee. Or Traylon Burks is going to have to make big strides over the course of the season. That's possible. But they've got to get more. They need more dynamic elements to the offense. So it is a big question going forward to me because I just don't know that you're going to get the same Derrick Henry. If they do, then everything's going to be all right. But I still am trying to hedge my bets and say if Derrick Henry is a little bit down, still good, but a little bit down from where he has been, can you get what you need through the passing game without A.J. Brown? So far, big check in the Eagles' corner for what they got with A.J. Brown and big question marks in the Titans' corner.
Yeah, and look, those questions are going to continue to be there until they show that they're not. You got, and you still have people, like one texter says, Tannehill cannot get us over the hump. If you have the right pieces around Tannehill, I think he can. Tannehill is what Tannehill is. Tannehill was fine yesterday. I mean,
he looked very much the same. He didn't look like his game has dropped off. He didn't make any big mistakes.
No.
He got them in position to
win the game. He didn't make any, huge plays. Now, that throw to Phillips, that was a good play.
It was a great play.
He threaded the needle.
That was a game-winning play.
Yeah.
We talked about how many times Tannehill has been in position to have to get them down there, and he is among the league leaders over the last 2 years in fourth-quarter comebacks, game-winning drives. And if they make the field goal yesterday, they have it. But that's why I still think the biggest screw-up was right at the end. After Phillips made the catch, they had a chance to get a few more yards, but they burned the timeout because they didn't get the play. They didn't get out of the huddle quick enough.
Right.
After they had gotten out of bounds. They shouldn't have had to hurry. They should have huddled up and been able to get out there plenty of time, run whatever play they wanted to run to get a few more yards, and then call the timeout. But they couldn't get a play off. They were kind of panicked. They called the timeout because otherwise they would have taken a delay of game. Then they lost 3 yards spotting the ball to the right hash, which to me that certainly wasn't worth the trade-off in hindsight. But that's not how you're supposed to do it there. Everything was okay with the 2-minute drives. He got him down there, but they could have gotten more. I think that field goal might have been good from 42 yards out or 44 yards out.
I mean, I feel a lot better about –
He just missed it from 47.
Right.
But every yard counts, and they went backwards when they didn't need to.
I feel a lot better about 42 than I would 47.
Yeah.
With anybody.
Just like 38 is better than 42. Like
sure.
The closer you get, the better, and they had a chance to get closer.
Coming up next, we'll take a deeper look at some of the defensive plays yesterday. And again, we want your reaction. 615-737-1025. The Titans lose 21-20 to open the season. It's a day to vent. We'll do that. Mike Vrabel also coming up at noon as we're live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club today here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Men, what if I told you that now you are able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMD4Men.com.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives. That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with, and we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before. And it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Need a new tractor, zero-turn mower, utility vehicle? Try it and buy it at Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field event, Thursday, September 15th at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot at one of Coleman Tractor's biggest sales events of the year. Demo, subcompact, compact, utility tractors, and more. Ask about competitive financing offers. Get a coupon for up to $250 and enter to win an Orca cooler. Don't miss Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field event, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on September 15th at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportbook BetUS.com is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offer their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their dealers are waiting for you at the table. You need a sportbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will get paid. You need a sportbook that offer everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gets better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mace.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming. Get the extra point, no problem. And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Mike, this is a group that's known for their stoutness on defense in the run game. What do you think led to having such a bad day stopping the run?
Good player, poor defense, poor gap integrity, and just a couple times it was edge, sometimes it's inside tackling. We'll have to really reevaluate, what we're doing and, give them credit. They were able to run the football, which was, the number one key for us on defense.
Mike Vrabel yesterday after the 21-20 Titans loss. Welcome back in Chase, Willy, and D-Mase as he talks about the run game. Speaking of run game, somebody that was very good at that. Don't miss the Eddie George Show featuring Jonathan Hutton on 102.5, 106.3. The game tonight at 6. We'll be live at 6 in Peabody. And I have been told that the special guest tonight will be Titans safety Kevin Byard. He's going to join the show around 6:15. The Eddie George Show is brought to you by Low T Centers. And, you know, Eddie has been through these moments before. D-Mase, who's going to be on here in just a little bit, has been through these moments before. But I do think it'll be cool to hear Kevin Byard's thoughts on yesterday's game as the Titans fall yesterday 21-20. But Mike Vrabel mentioned not being able to stop the run. You look at and what was funny is we had Max Kellerman on Friday who had made the comments that he thought that Saquon Barkley was going to have a bigger impact than Derrick Henry. Well, for one game, he was right. And Saquon Barkley was the impact that the Giants needed. You know, yes, Sterling Shepard had the big 65-yard catch, but if you look at Barkley, 18 carries, 164 yards, including a 68-yard run for the touchdown, averaged 9.1 yards per carry because of that big run. He looked very, very good yesterday, and the Titans didn't have an answer for him. You can ask the question, and it's a valid question. Is that because they didn't have Harold Landry, or they just simply didn't have an answer?
I can't. You got to get over the Harold Landry. He's not going to be.
He's out.
So they've got to figure it out. As we've said all along, you've got to make sure that you're improving week to week, win or lose in week one. Everything has got to get better. In past years, under Mike Vrabel, this team has gotten better over the course of the season. But the run defense, now, 101 yards come on 2 plays for Saquon Barkley, 68 and 33.
Yep.
So that's where you start, is giving up the big chunks like that. Those are killers.
They had more explosive plays than you did.
Yes, and not just explosive. We're talking about home runs.
Yeah.
Like that's like a grand slam.
Yeah.
A couple of those. And I think beyond that, there also were too many. Like Matt Breida, 5 carries for 24 yards off the bench. That's pretty good. That's 4.8. Kadarius Toney had the one reverse that was 19 yards. That's a nice little play. And Daniel Jones ran the ball somewhat effectively as well. So I think even beyond the explosive plays, there's room for improvement in the run defense. I do think this has been a good, solid defensive unit in stopping the run, and it wasn't yesterday. I think if you look at that, that's probably what Mike Vrabel seemed most bothered about as opposed to anything else.
Yeah, and look, I think you may. I sat there and was kind of thinking it, and I've seen some texters thinking of, okay, why don't you force them to throw more? Because you were very good stopping the pass. Daniel Jones was 17 of 21, but he only had 188 yards. He did have the 2 touchdowns. He had the 1 pick in the end zone. He was sacked 5 times by the Titans defense. So why not load the box, force them to throw the ball more? I just don't think the Giants were scared of you. They knew that they could run it on you. Barkley had gotten his confidence. He knew he could run it on you. And so that's why they stuck with it. But again, the big thing that you pointed out and that has stood out to me is they had more explosive big chunk plays than you did, and that's ultimately what beat you.
Well, the 65-yard bomb to Shepard is a killer. So
yeah,
I don't know
true.
if they were crowding the box there, but certainly the only guy in the picture was Christian Fulton on that
he's
play.
Going to have nightmares about that.
But you can't put it all on him. It's just
he's the only guy got beat there.
He did get beat, yeah. And so if you know you're the only guy back there, then you can't let the guy get behind you. Give up a 20-yarder, but not a 65-yarder. So there's just a lot of things there. But that was on a day that the defense is still up 20-13. They've done a reasonable job despite the 2 really big plays. It's just a shame. It wasn't a failing grade. They did a lot of good things. They got the 4 sacks in the first half. They got the turnover. And I think there was an opportunity for the team to be ahead more than 13-0.
Yeah.
So there were so many – that was, to me, what was frustrating.
You had them
on the ropes a couple of times, and you can live with – you're not going to be perfect. But they had a chance to put the game away several different times and didn't quite do it.
I agree with you for the most part. You know, when you say it's not a failing grade, okay.
On the defense.
On the defense, yeah, I'll give you that. But ultimately, you offense couldn't help you out. It was kind of like
if you make them drive the field, right? This is the catch-22 when you say, well, crowd the line of scrimmage, make them throw it. That's when you give up the big play, right? If you make them drive the field on the opening, first of all, the Titans missed the 3rd and 1 on the opening possession of the second half, right? If they keep the ball, they go down and score even a field goal, and it's 16-0, and now you're kicking to them, you've got even more of a tight grip on the game. Instead, you punt, and then he gets the 68-yard run, right? If that doesn't happen, if you make the Giants drive 10 yards at a time,
right?
See if Daniel Jones can string together a 10, 12-play drive, which is what most defenses are trying to do these days. Instead of giving up the big chunk, maybe that's a different game. Can they do that? Can the Giants do that? I don't know. This was a problem last year. Remember, the Jets won the game based on some huge plays that they made, which were almost freakishly.
I think the two games are similar.
Plays.
That's a good comparison.
So, I think that to me that really is what you boil it down to. It's like you do so many things well, but those 3 plays cost you the game. You could really make that argument. So your grade goes from being an A- or a B to a C- kind of thing.
I look at
based on who you're playing.
I look at it like this. It's kind of like a pitcher in baseball that has pitched a solid game for you. He's given up maybe 3 or 4 hits, and you're feeling really good, but then he walks a couple runners and then gives up a 3-run blast, and then you lose.
Yeah. Or
Chris
hits.
Chris Mason's throwing a shutout, and then he gives up a goal with 2 minutes left, and the Predators lose.
I think the home run analogy is a big one in baseball. If you give up 2 home runs at the worst time, you could strike out 10 and walk none and have great stuff and dominate, but just those key plays at key times, those home runs will bite you.
A lot of people are down. I'm down, but reading the description on the call screener, I think Chris, not Chris Mason, who's sitting with us, I think Chris has seen the light. 615-737-1025. Chris wants to weigh in on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in, Chris.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Listen, I'm a lifelong Titans fan, and, of course, I'm not ready to throw in the towel. Vrabel, we've seen it. He's liable to beat the Bills next week. But, the run defense was the most troubling thing, particularly in the second half, especially since they was the number 2 run defense last year. I was like, where were the linebackers? They kept getting blocked right out of the play, and I think they're going to be all right. Derek usually gets off to a slow start, but my problem is these inexplicable losses that everybody picks the Titans to win. I don't know if D-Mase was there, if he'd disagree with me, but to me it seems like a lot of times they come out, like in the second half there yesterday, and I think their mindset is, we got this, we're just going to cruise to victory. And if you have that mindset, you're setting yourself up to defeat. You're playing not to lose. And I've seen it so many times. And I remember when the Patriots beat the Titans years ago, 59-0 in their prime. Do you think Belichick and Brady ever let up? No, you can't do that in an NFL game.
Nope. Very good point, Chris. Thanks for the call. And that has been kind of my message today. I started the show by saying a bad team doesn't know they're bad if you let them hang around the whole game. And that's what the Titans did. The Titans let them stay in the game. They went up 13-0, and then the Giants battled back by making some big plays. And if you make a couple of big explosive plays, you can beat a good team. I've seen the Titans do it when they weren't very good. It happens. That's sports. That's the NFL. So that's what bothers me, is they let them hang around enough to make a couple of big plays, and then they come back and beat them. Now, this is kind of what Phil in Kentucky on our text line says, except I disagree with him on something. Up 13-0, let them come back to tie. The ebb and flow of the game doesn't bother me. The special teams lost that game, and not just the missed field goal at the end. No one has mentioned the muff punt that set the Giants up in the red zone. Yeah, then Amani Hooker got the interception.
Yeah, so they kind of got away with that one. That could have cost them big time.
It could have.
And I did not think that I thought it was interesting. Stonehouse, he certainly has the leg.
Yeah.
So that, but there were times where I thought he kicked some. He had some returnable punts. They got some decent yards.
Yeah, but I don't know if I put that on him though, Willie. I thought he was pinning them back. He had no coverage help. That was
because there's not enough hang time. I do think that's something that we got to look at. We got to look at going forward here. He has to mold the cover. He has to kick to the correct coverage, maybe a little more directional. He's got the leg. That's just something to keep an eye on. The bottom line is, they had some decent punt returns, which seems to be tougher to do in this day and age. The field position was pretty much a wash. The turnovers were about a wash with the muff punt negated by the Hooker interception. So I don't know if that's a real huge factor in the game, the turnovers and special teams, other than, of course, they missed the last kick. Could have won it on that play. But as far as foot off the gas, first 2 possessions of the third quarter for the Titans. They get the opening kickoff. They've got 3rd and 1. And that's where they did the direct snap.
Yep, the Wildcat.
And it didn't work. They didn't execute it.
That's and again, I don't hate that one. Because Henry was if Henry hangs on to it, he drops it too.
It's not always the play call; it's the execution.
Right, he dropped it. He didn't handle.
And I don't know the Chikakonkwo one a little bit later.
That one I can't excuse that.
It didn't look like it was there. Like the Giants had numbers on that side. I know Taylor Lewan missed his block.
Yeah,
but the Giants seemed to have like 4 guys on that play. I don't know what the read was or what could have checked to in that, but that one just seemed to never have a chance. But, if it worked, we would all have been saying, hey, what a great play to Okonkwo. But the bottom line is you got to get 3rd and 1. They missed 1, 2 3rd and 1s, a 3rd and 2, a 3rd and 3, a 3rd and 5. I mean, there's just a ton of them that your batting average needs to be really good in those. That's what you want. You want 3rd and short. You want 3rd and manageable. You should be getting those a lot, and they end up on the day 3 of 11 on 3rd down.
Coming up next, what was our overall evaluation of the offensive line? Also, Mike Vrabel coming up at noon as you listen to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a cool start this morning, the afternoon takes us into the upper 70s, and that is where we stop. Well below average, low humidity. We are loaded with sunshine. No significant rain chances until the end of this upcoming week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
It's game on tonight at Twin Peaks as we welcome Monday Night Football with $10 street tacos and 22-ounce Coors Light or Miller Lite bundles. Watch Russell Wilson and the Broncos as they take on the quarterback's old squad in Seattle. Who do you have coming out on top after the trade?
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Crane Works, Rental Works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Crane Works is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Crane Works offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rental Works has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Crane Works. Visit craneworks.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase live from the Vanderbilt Legends Club today. Brent Peterson's golf tournament presented by First Horizon, benefiting Predators Foundation. We're out here for that, but taking your calls and your texts. The Titans fall 21-20 to the New York Giants yesterday at Nissan Stadium, 615-737-1025. Willie, I just saw Robbie Stanley tweet this out. Of course, one half of Robbie and Rex Road. And I was listening a lot this morning. He says, this morning we got calls to fire Vrabel, fire Downing, cut Henry, cut the linebackers, cut the kicker. Football is back, baby. Overreaction
Welcome
Monday.
to week one in the NFL. Week one in the NFL is always full of this stuff. I can remember last year, we're sitting right here where we are, the day after the Cardinals game. What is going on? A totally disastrous performance in week one. This one was equally as frustrating, maybe not a disastrous performance, but certainly a disastrous result given the opponent. And you're sitting there going, boy, should have won that game. So many different ways that they could have won it. And they just didn't. And we're so used to them winning the close games. It's become a habit. They take it down to the wire. They find a way to win. Yesterday, it was frustrating that it came down to the wire, but you still were watching the game thinking, okay, the Titans always win these games. How are they going to win this one? There were so many ways. Up 20-13 with the ball a couple of times.
Yep.
Derrick Henry take over the game in the fourth quarter. That didn't happen. So many 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s. Didn't get it. A big stop on defense. You get the interception in the end zone. All right, 4-minute drill. Milk the clock here. You've got this game. Didn't happen. Okay, they get the 2-point conversion. There was holding on the play. They didn't call it, but you still have time. You work it down. You've got the field goal. Just kick the field goal. You win the game. And you don't have as many panicking phone calls today. But they missed it. So many different things that could have turned the game. But that's the NFL. And we're maybe been a little bit spoiled that they've won so many of these close games over the last few years.
You know, you bring up, like, missed calls and everything, and that's going to happen in a game. And look, you knew going in, Jerome Boger's crew is the worst in the NFL. Jerome Boger sucks as a referee.
It's a wild card.
I don't know how he's still a referee, but he's still a referee.
It's his crew. It's not just him individually.
Okay, it
but
still falls
his
on him.
crew consistently is marked down. And so there's a wild card factor. They've won games, I'm sure, where Jerome Boger's been the referee. It's not him going against the Titans. But, again, when you've won 13 out of 17 one-score games, the statisticians are going to tell you that you've been a little lucky, that you've gotten the breaks. And yesterday, maybe the swings of the Jerome Boger referees, they couldn't overcome it yesterday. I do think they got the short end on that.
Yeah, and I was looking for – I'm looking for when it was – exactly, but they called the delay of game. I think it was in the fourth quarter. They called the delay of game, but they didn't reset the play clock. And that now that I will bring up of no, it didn't lose you the game, but like that stuff can't happen. You don't reset the play clock and then you penalize the team for delay of game. I'm trying to look exactly when it was. It was late in the game. It was in the fourth quarter. They called a delay of game, but they didn't reset the play clock.
The Titans were called for delay.
Yeah, they put 25 on. There was 25 on the clock instead of 40.
That seems to happen here and there. That happens in other games too. I don't know all the particulars on that, but
okay. Offensive line. Before we get to Mike Vrabel coming up in a few minutes, offensive line. That has been one of the big question marks all offseason. Brewer was called for a couple holding calls that you can say, okay, those were questionable, if those were in fact holding or not. Petit Frere, you didn't really notice him all that much.
He did have a false start.
Did have a false start. Lawan had a couple of penalties or a penalty.
And Lawan had to go off the field a couple of times, which does have you, holding your breath, crossing your fingers that he can make it through, because they really need him for 17
That's one of
games.
our questions.
But he didn't play all the plays, right? He did have to come out of the game for a little bit.
So, overall, what was your evaluation of the offensive line?
It has to get better.
Yep.
And you can't judge it by the first game.
Work in progress.
But what I really want to see is, can they run block? Last year they had a bad year pass protection wise, but boy, could they could run block, and they proved that after Derrick Henry got hurt. They still ran the ball pretty darn well. Yesterday I was hoping for one or two more big chunk plays, right? And so Derrick Henry, this was a game score wise with you leading the game that this could have been a Derrick Henry kind of game where he breaks you down in the fourth quarter and takes over the game. Up 20-13 with the ball.
Yep.
But it just never happened, right? But again, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1. Didn't get them, right? So that's where they needed a couple of move the chains, and then maybe that big run happens. So it is a wait and see on the offensive line. Not a bad first game. Pass protection was reasonable, but they are going to play much, much better defenses. Much, much better defenses, especially up front.
Yeah, including Monday night.
Starting Monday.
Is this the setup, because I know Jared's going to talk about this, and people have brought it up on our text line, and I brought it up. The Titans will play to their competition. They'll play down to their competition, which I felt like they did yesterday, and then they'll be in a game like they're supposed to be Monday night where they're a 9.5-point underdog, and they could go in there and they win the thing. And that has been the Mike Vrabel MO, the Mike Vrabel special, as Jared likes to call it, of they lose to a team that they shouldn't lose to, and then they turn around and they beat a team they shouldn't beat. And yes, you can sit here and you can say, well, that's the NFL, the any given Sunday mentality, but it does feel like that happens a lot with them. So should we expect anything less Monday night as they get ready to go play the paper Super Bowl champions?
But we don't know how good the Giants are or how bad the Giants are. I think the Giants will be better.
I don't think they're very good.
We don't know. They could be awful. The disturbing thing about this one is it's not like last year when they lost to the Texans at home and they lost to the Jets. They had some big issues there. They had offensive line issues. They had receiver issues. They were missing some guys. And you could say to yourself, okay, because I remember telling you guys, I picked the Texans to cover the spread in that game because every now and then. But this one, you didn't have that, right? You weren't missing, other than the Landry injury, which you knew was the deal for a couple weeks here. I really was thinking they have everybody. They should be able to take care of it. And they didn't.
It's good to be Scott Frost. $50 million to go away. That's what he's going to get. Good to be him.
He's a Nebraska guy, man. He won him a national championship as a quarterback.
Yeah,
big contract.
Well, wish I could get that. But I can't. I like what I do, though. Coming up next, Mike Vrabel going to address the media. You will hear that as we are live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club today. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
You watch the game.
He scores! Philip Forsberg!
We talk the game.
Philip Forsberg stays here in Nashville, hearing the deal is done. 8 years, close to $70 million total.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
An effective defense often hinges on sophisticated strategies relating to income tax projections, business valuations, spousal support claims. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Now's the time to make a message known. All working-class Tennesseans vote no on Amendment 1 this voting season. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Hardworking families deserve to have their needs addressed in today's economy. Visit TennesseeWorkerAlliance.org. Paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game,
Checkered
flag in the air.
The game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 12 o'clock hour. Mike Vrabel is at the podium. Let's go to St. Thomas Sports Park.
Well, you look at, the run defense, things that we, when we are playing the game well and we are operating how I think we should operate. We're running the football. We're stopping the run. Our quarterback's efficient. We affect their quarterback. Neither of those two things did we win those matchups. Won the turnover matchup, but, I felt like we did well enough in some of these critical situations, especially at the end of the game, to put ourselves in a position. But that in the end really was what got us, was just not being able to control the football, and then the X plays that we gave up, those big plays on defense. And, we still need to try to make sure that we're finishing some drives off. Third down wasn't good enough. Too many 3-and-outs to start the second half.
It seemed like as soon as you got the completion to Phillips, you were satisfied with the field position for the field goal and were more concerned with moving horizontally than vertically. Couldn't you have used more yards there?
Well, we could always use more yards. I'm comfortable, and I've gone into saying this, that at the 25-yard line, I've told the team this, that we're going to kick the field goal. Now, we were 26-27. I wanted to be very clear what hash we wanted it on. I explained that last night. I'm not disappointed in how that situation happened. I'm disappointed that a guy that we have a lot of confidence in missed. Randy's disappointed, but he's made a lot of big kicks for us. So, it's a situation that we've actually covered in the summer. Had 18 seconds on the clock, had no timeouts. Randy wanted it on the right hash, so we put it on the right hash, got lined up, calmly clocked the ball, and then unfortunately missed the kick.
After you were out of bounds, are guys milling around too much there?
No, again, that was me just being very clear on where we wanted the, where we wanted the football. Was it the left hash? Was it the right hash? Is this a game winner? We want to make sure that everybody was on the same page. That was my decision.
How much does that change week to week?
It does. I think it actually changes sometimes during the game based on the wind and based on how he feels, which direction we're headed. So there was actually, a conversation, and I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any indecision in what we were telling Ryan where we wanted the football.
Beyond the jig run that we asked about yesterday, the third and short failures in general in the second half, any common threads there? How disappointing was that for you?
Well, that's something that we've been, really good at, and that we're going to continue to be really good at. That was, disappointing. We had done well enough on first and second down to eliminate some of those third and extra longs that we were just, are hard to pick up and protect and all those different things. So we'll have to make sure that we're giving these guys a great plan. We're giving the quarterback plenty of options for the looks that we're thinking that we may see or not see, and be better. The one, I thought we did a fantastic job with the man coverage early in the game. We had, Bobby in the backfield, and Ryan progressed through, and they kind of dropped Dontrell, and then we started seeing some more zone probably because of that. And I think that we just have to make sure that we're adjusting to some of those things that happen through the course of the game.
With the committee approach or collective approach as a receiver core as opposed to like one dominant guy, like how much stress does that put on you as a play caller, or Coach Downing, Coach Kelly as people who go into making the offense tick?
Well, I think we all have, everybody in this building, I think we have, there's stress involved in everybody's job, whether you're a player, a coach, a trainer, just to try to get the players ready to go out there and understand what's going on. And we have confidence in everybody out there. So, we have some certain plays where you may want a guy at one position, but other than that, just like, Cody went in there the other day and, we threw a boot to him that gained 18 or however many yards it did down there in the red zone. So, I thought he did a nice job. I thought he kept both feet in bounds, and whatever that is that the guy's numbers called, that we'll go out and make it work.
Might become more important with so many teams focusing on Derrick Henry. Does it become more important, like for someone?
They focused on Derrick since the last 3 years or whatever that may be. That's not nothing's changed there. We left a lot of meat on the bone running a football. That's okay.
Do you need more touches from Woods and Hooper, or do they have to earn more touches?
Well, I've been through this, and I've tried to explain it as best as I can to the team specifically. If you're a receiver or you're a tight end or you're, maybe not a running back, but if you're out in the route, like all you can focus on is that you get open. And then the quarterback has to determine like where he goes with the football. And, we always watch and we say, oh, that guy's open on the right. Well, the read and the progression starts over here, and it's a yes, no, and you only have so much time. You can't start here and then think, oh, I'm going to come back as pressures come in, or, that's the thing I think we lose sight of. So, yeah, we want everybody that's open to get the football. And, is Ryan going to say, yeah, I probably should have to rip the sit to hoop, down there in the high red? Probably. But, I thought we were efficient in the play pass game. We had some of those X plays. We're going to continue to work with Traylon about continuing to run and not, continue his speed down the field as he's trying to locate the ball. I think that came up. But, our young guys played good, man. These guys, they went out there. We had some rookies that started. That's the most production that we've had from young guys. Traylon caught the ball well. He blocked. We'll start maybe seeing if he can make somebody miss an open field instead of trying to run them over. But, we'll try to get, the quarterback to get the guy the ball that's open, the guy to get him the ball when he's open.
How would you say the protection was yesterday? Because no sacks allowed. Petit Ferrer seemed to be very engaging and locking up his guy and didn't seem to need a whole lot of extra help.
Even with Swaim and Hoop, the time, Jeff did a nice job on some of the defensive ends that we had him blocking in the play pass, which we know can be, hit or miss. So I thought the protection was good. There was some, always a couple times where, they run a game where there was some leakage. But overall, I thought it was good. There was some good pockets, some very good pockets. Our sack came on on a boot that Ryan didn't gain any yards on. So all in all, I think that it was, did some positive things up front.
Maybe trying to run around too many blocks.
Well, I think that there's always, there's three ways that you can get to the ball: under, over, or through. And as Zach has shown in the past that, he can do all three of those. That's why he's such an intriguing player. One thing to look at is where the ball is, where the blocker is. There's some times where if the ball is, further away from the blocker, that you can dip and avoid and try to, beat them. So those are decisions just like with Derek with running the football. You have to, you coach them up and hope that they make the right decision, then make the right read, whether he's going to slip underneath the block or, take it on and try to shed.
On the meat of the ball left on the running game, Mike, how much of that was left by Derek himself?
I think probably some. Some. There was, again, we're all in it out there, and we have to have a play design. Sometimes Derek bounces, makes a huge play. Sometimes he sticks it up inside and, gets a couple dirty yards. So we've always trusted him with the football to go, and that's why I tell those guys to finish longer than the guy with the ball. And sometimes we've seen him break it out and make magic happen, and sometimes it's a 1 or 2 yard gain. So that's what we've entrusted him to do, and that's why he's our running back, and that's why we, rely heavily on him.
The conversion were guys in the right spot, just didn't make a play, or did you get out of?
No, I think we had a couple guys there. We had a couple guys there, and Saquon made a play.
Was held in that play, Mike?
I think that there's a lot of things that I think they had 12 men on the field when we punted the football too, but that's beside the point.
Probably every play was different, but the consistency in the run defense, was it more missed tackling? Maybe guys?
Probably more. We had double digits. Some of the fits. Making sure that we go that there's an edge, that there's a wall, and that you're swarming. And so sometimes when they get some pullers over the edge, you have secondary players that then become force players, right? So that we have to, make sure that we're forcing it and that we're, getting the right guys at the right angles.
Mike, on Woods and Hooper again, you mentioned how, they as pass catchers, you can't really control when you're getting the ball. But in terms of, even though they didn't really get the ball, were you pleased with kind of what they were doing away from the ball, blocking? Were you encouraged in that regard in terms of them doing their job to get open and block and doing all that?
Yeah, again, we lost the game, so nobody really played well enough or coached well enough, and that's how we want to approach it. Everybody, I would say, that was involved in the game did some of those things that were really positive, and then some of the things that we just need to correct and make sure that we fix, whether it's, how we're running a route, how we're blocking, how we're taking on blocks. Just it's a big week for us, and we're going to use the extra day, hopefully, to try to take care of some fundamentals and look at some things that come up and try to be very specific.
You've been here before. You've had disappointing losses and faced a big opponent coming off of it.
Every loss is disappointing. Every loss is disappointing. We put a lot into it, and we've done that to other teams, and I guess that's why it hurts. And it's frustrating and disappointing and a million different things. But, walk in and talk to the team and tell them, this is, we got off to the start we wanted. This is what we were doing well. Came out, second half, sky kick. We start backed up. We go 3 and out to start and, just really never did enough in the second half to take control of the momentum. Proud of the way that we fought. Unfortunately, just came up short.
Responded well in these situations, though.
I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the players that they understand. I think they keep everything in perspective. I think they do a good job of keeping things in perspective. So I'm going to try to do that and help them.
Analytics were pretty complimentary of Traylon, his ability to create separation last night. Is that something that popped on the tape, maybe more so than it did in the preseason games or some of the other times you've seen him in game action?
I think he did, some things really well. He had some things that He needs to get corrected. But when we asked him to block, he went in there and he was willing. Talked to you about his efforts on the kickoff return and how much those coaches wanted him in that phase. Now he got a holding penalty, but it was also against, probably their best special teams player. And he stood in there and he didn't back down. He didn't flinch. He got set, hit him, tried to block him, and just a tug. So the separation. I just hope that he continues to try to develop and catch the ball and find ways to help us.
How much better have your guys gotten up front at mirroring the hand to bat passes down, and how much has that helped you?
That will always help us. I think Jeff will probably be kicking himself. He tried to do it, but he jumped, and Daniel Jones was able to, put it in there on one of the third downs. But he was trying. Jeff was clearly chasing him and kind of went to match the hand and left his feet a little bit. But Strong came up with a big one at a huge point, third down. We just didn't have enough attempts, whether that was at the line of scrimmage or, with the ball carrier.
Weaver's solid play in preseason seemed to carry over to 2 sacks. How do you do setting the edge in the run game?
There was a couple really nice ones where he got 2 blockers, some of those pullers over the edge. And then there was another one where, he could have been better, and he knows that, and, we'll try to explain it to him and show him. But, he did well, not good enough for us to win collectively, but I think that he continues to work, and I think he's trying to take advantage of the opportunity. He's excited to be out there. He's into it, and he plays hard.
Is that aspect of the game sometimes more difficult for a guy whose strong suit is rushing the passer? A lot of edge guys.
I think there's just some patience that's involved with it. Whether that be he or Danico. The defensive players, you always want to make a bunch of plays, right? We just ask you that you make the ones that you're supposed to make. Because there has to be some sort of responsibility. There has to be some sort of semblance to order and what's going on. And so, I think that there is a fine line of when, we talked about Zach Cunningham running around a block, or when you just get rid of somebody soon instead of waiting and then losing a speed battle to a very good back.
Mike, this team was 6-1 last year in games decided by 3 or fewer points. Is that kind of a toughness or mentality that has to be relearned year to year, or is there any kind of carryover that maybe you can try to tap into?
There may be some carryover. I mean, it's just understanding the situations, right? We were pretty confident that they scored, that they were going to go for 2, being on the road. A lot of different factors. The way that the game was going left us enough time. Our offense went back. We missed a kick at the end. We have been good. I'm proud of the fact that we have been good in one-score games. Not so good yesterday, but we just have to do a better job of coming out of that second half and taking control of the game again, and not making it to the point where it comes down to a few plays there at the end.
Losing A.J. Moore cost you anything from a personnel standpoint yesterday?
Well, he's a solid, very solid special teams contributor, continuing to build a role on defense. But his passion, his speed, and what we were doing, I thought our special teams units, Trey Avery, what it did was give Trey Avery an opportunity. Another young guy had 1 tackle, 2 assists, never played L5 on a kickoff team in his life. Ran in there, ran down the middle of the field, hit the off returner, and made a tackle. So that's usually what happens is one guy that's not available and somebody else is, and we like when they take advantage of the opportunity.
For your nickel package, featuring Ugo Amadi, is there something you like more about him as opposed to having McCreary bump inside and Farley filling at that outside corner spot?
Well, there's a lot of banging around that goes in there. Amadi's done it much more in this league than Roger. So just trying not to overload him. Inside, outside, run game. There's some different run fits that are associated in there. It's really a modified linebacker. And, Roger just right now is not that he doesn't want to go in there and mix it up, because he tackled well at times yesterday and tried to tackle physically. But I think it's just, right now we're working him on third down in there.
So that's not as much of an indictment on Farley himself as it is just trying to.
Oh, no, it's just first and second down. When we go nickel or when we go with substituted defense, it's first and second down, just trying to get a guy in there at the nickel that's done it, and, that's it.
How rare is it, Mike, when you see a rookie like Phillips get the target share that he did in his first NFL game? And is that kind of a sign of the trust that Ryan already has in him?
He's got a lot of trust. You saw a great punt return, a great effort from him, a lot of great efforts from other guys out there, and then it didn't come without. It wasn't perfect, because then we muffed one. But Kyle is a competitor. He's got a knack for getting open, and so Ryan was able to find him a couple times yesterday.
Some of the balls he caught on punt return, I got to believe you don't want him catching some of those inside the 10, inside the 5, the way he did.
Well, inside the 5, you're starting to get a little bit dicey, but that 8-yard line is usually probably the the break point, just because the punters are so good to be able to pin you inside the 5-yard line. So, just making good decisions down there, and obviously hoping that we can keep that a strength and just clean up the ball security.
The play inside the 10 in the first half, Mike, run fake to Derek. Does that ball just need to be right to Derek quickly?
We need to
allow him to turn it
Yeah, I'm not going to get through the scheme of it, but I would say that everybody involved has to be better, and just make sure that we're firm and solid on where we want to go with the ball and how we want that route to get there.
Regarding the run defense, Mike, yesterday, you said that we need to reevaluate what we're doing since that was the number one key we had. How do you go about doing that, specifically if it was the number one key and it ended up the way it was?
Well, every week's different. Every week's different. This may be a different running scheme. They showed a few things in their first week that Buffalo hadn't shown last week or last year. We'll figure out what the scheme is and try to come up with ways to defend it. It really just came down to the X plays, the explosive gains. That really changed momentum, changes field position. You got to make them earn everything in this league. You just can't give them big plays.
How important has it been in your tenure that the number one key, that you guys have come up so short, and the number one thing you've talked about during the week?
Well, there's been a couple times. I can't go back. You can check with Stretch, but I'm sure there's been some times we needed to do something and, didn't do it. You can go out there and you can have 80% of the snaps, be for 3 yards or less, and then give up a couple big plays, which is, what we did, and add the quarterback scramble into that, and, a jet sweep into that. And, so if the quarterback runs for 15 yards, the end of a 2-minute drill that we end up stopping them on, it's going to go into rushing. But at the end of the day, it was, just some of those big plays.
How big a challenge you have a week from tonight, and the past games against them help you a little bit in preparation?
Well, I'm sure it would, help a little bit. Every year is different. It's an excellent defense. Put a lot of pressure on the other night. Very sound. They're good tacklers. You just watch that game. They tackled very well. Offensively, they were able to break tackles. The quarterback is very good. A lot of respect for Josh and what he does and the command that he has, his toughness, his physicality, and not only that, but just his arm talent. So it's a huge challenge, on the road.
Mike, what has Jeff Swaim done to earn the role on offense that he has? He led the tight ends in snaps yesterday.
Yeah, he's the best blocking tight end that we have. Thanks, guys.
There you go, Mike Vrabel, Titans head coach, breaking everything down from the loss yesterday to the Giants. D-Mase is done with his career best golf game and will join us. We'll get his thoughts on everything here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
2, 3, 4, look. High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Race fans, Nashville's legendary racetrack, the Fairgrounds Speedway, features their Pro Late Model Twin 50s Saturday night, September 17th. Awesome racing action with the Pro Late Models, the Outlaw Late Models, Limited Late Models, Street Stocks, Pure Stocks, Front Runners, Legends, and Bandoleros. Get your tickets today at NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing and experience local racing's best at Nashville's legendary track. Get your tickets today. That's NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing.
Hey everybody, Big Joe here for Apple Collision Centers. And you know I'm always on the go, but the distraction that an automobile accident causes could even slow my pace down to a stop. But my friend and CEO of Apple Collision Centers, Stan Harrison, has a plan to get you and I back on the road and fast.
We at Apple Collision Centers know you deserve the best quality service. We always recommend original equipment parts, and we use only the best Sherwin-Williams finishes. 3 convenient locations, Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Oak Hickory. And you can always visit us online for your estimate needs at applecollisioncenters.com.
The 2 most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
See the latest from Viraggio, handcrafted on 5th Avenue in New York by true artisans with unmatched attention to detail and the highest quality standards. Viraggio is the only ring that can be customized for every woman's specific desires. Come explore the entire Viraggio collection at Genesis.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 23rd through 25th, take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
About 80% of new home buyers don't shop around for the best mortgage loan. That's a mistake. Hey, Willy Donick here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Not all mortgages are created equal. People who use Loan Pronto, on average, save $3,500 in closing costs. They get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agent's go-to lenders are fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet you they can get you a better loan, lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. And when rates drop, Loan Pronto will refinance you for free. No closing costs. Call to get pre-approved in minutes. They can even hook you up with a high-performing real estate agent if you need one. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Kenny Mayne here with this declaration for new Caesar Sportsbook app users from Caesar. Your first bet's on us, is what Caesar told me to say. That means if you don't win, you get up to $1,250 back as a free bet. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app and sign up with the code RADIOFULL.
Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. Qualifying bet losers. Bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesar.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
A new fair is hatching in Nashville. Come on out and experience 10 days of dinner shows, barnyard animals, culture arts, sporting events, and 4 nights of Nashfest with themed music. We have something for everyone now through September 18th. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun. A regional fair with an urban flair. The Nashville Fair. It's a hatchin' good time.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Hey, Chief, we got a damaged RV on its way to the OR.
Well, that sounds like a job for the new head of RV surgery.
Wait, are you promoting me?
Congrats, Martinez.
Doctor, that RV's flatlining.
Well, that sounds like a job for the new head of nursing.
So you're just promoting everyone now?
Yeah, kind of looks that way, doesn't it?
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Join us for the Tuesday edition of Robbie and Rexrow. We'll continue to break down the Titans' loss to the New York Giants. Caroline Fenton drops by at 7 o'clock to discuss a wild weekend in college football as well. It all starts at 6 o'clock, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5, The Game.
Willy and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. We are at the Vanderbilt Legends Club as we talk Titans and their loss to the Giants 21-20, but actually going to stop by here in a few minutes, so it'll be good to catch up with the captain. Ryan Johansson is here, so the Predators are all here. I can't believe the season is right around the corner, but Derek Mason has joined us now after his round of golf. Derek, before we kind of break down what Mike Vrabel had to say about some things, your overall synopsis of what happened yesterday at Nissan Stadium as the Titans fall to 0-1 on the season.
A lot of miscues, a lot of not being disciplined. This team came out, and I'm not going to say they started fast, but they were playing good. The defense was playing really well. They limited the Giants to, especially the first 3 series, to basically nothing. The offense they were moving the ball. Derrick Henry was running the ball, I believe, like Derrick Henry usually does, start off slow and then picks up steam. It seemed like they had the game sort of controlled in the first half, but the second half was a different story. Saquon Barkley, you saw Saquon, in the first half, here and there, he would break off little runs here and there. You saw that the old Saquon was back, the balance, the burst, the power. The second half, they really kicked it up. I don't know what happened to the Titans the second half. I'm not going to sit here and say they didn't come out to play, because that would be idiotic of me and not correct. They came out to play. I don't think they made the necessary adjustments they needed to make on defense to slow or stop Saquon Barkley.
I can argue that on offense too.
Yeah, on offense it was the same thing. It seemed like instead of them, changing some things, they stayed status quo, and the Giants defense made some adjustments and started to slow the Titans down. So I would say they just got out-coached. That basically, flat out, they got out-coached. There was, a lot of undisciplined play out there. And when you're playing a team like the Giants, and we've discussed this before, a team that many believe is a bad team, but this team doesn't know that they're a bad team. They believe they're a good team. And the only thing they need is 1 or 2 breaks. And they got those 1 or 2 breaks yesterday. And the Titans could never regroup once, the Giants got rolling. So they got out coached to me. They were undisciplined.
You think Vrabel was out-coached?
I believe the whole staff. It has nothing to – this is not a Vrabel thing.
Yeah.
His staff got out-coached because they didn't make the adjustments on offense and they didn't make the adjustments on defense. I can see if they made adjustments on one side of the ball and we can blame it on the defense or we can blame it on offense. No, this team as a whole didn't make the necessary adjustments that they needed to make. They had penalties. They had turnovers on special teams, missed field goals. So this is a team effort. This is not one guy. This is a team effort loss, in regards to the Tennessee Titans. So, I mean, they gotta go back to the drawing table and figure out how do they, if things are not going well, or how do they make in-game adjustments. I'm not going to sit here and say Downey doesn't know how to do it, or Shane Bowen doesn't know how to do it, because they do. They just, for whatever reason, it didn't happen in this game. Maybe they just figure, hey, we got the game under control. We can run the football, and we'll rely on our defense to stop the Giants. It didn't work out that way.
If I could point out one thing that I picked up from Mike Vrabel's press conference, I do think he was most disappointed in not coming out and putting the game away in the second half.
Yep.
I think he really emphasized that. He got grilled from all angles, as you would expect, after a Week 1 loss. But if I could boil it down, and it wasn't any one thing, but I think, Derek, you hit on a number of different things. But there were so many ways that they could have put the game away, and they just didn't do it. A lot of 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s they didn't convert. Giving up the 3 gigantic plays that the defense gave up in an otherwise pretty good performance. The first half, especially defensively, they did about everything you would want them to do. They caused a turnover. They got to the quarterback. They didn't give up any points. And in the second half, they allowed 3 huge plays, which kind of marred their performance. So it went all the way around. And then, of course, if they just make a kick at the end of the game, everybody's still not panicking. You know, it's a totally different tone of today. Right. The question would be, is this team good enough to go to Buffalo and win? Now it's freak out.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we've talked about the Mike Vrabel special. They play – and Derek, I would love your thoughts on this, because I've heard you say it before. This team plays down to their competition. They play up to their competition. It feels like if they're in a game they should win, they either struggle to win it or they lose like they did yesterday. And if they play in a game that they shouldn't win, it's either tight or they figure out a way to win it. Why is that? Why at this level of football is that still a conversation that we're having that, to me, you obviously want them to play up. But to me, like, go take care of business. You were doing it in the first half. You took your foot off the gas, and then they come back. You gave them more explosive plays than you had, and they come back and they beat you.
Well, that's what it boils down to, just explosive plays. You have the big catch by Shepard. You have the big run by Saquon Barkley. Then you have the 2-point play. Those are games that I'm sorry. Those are moments in a game that you can't have, because winning and losing boils down to a few plays. That's it. And for the Titans, it boiled down to the long run, the long catch, the 2-point play. I know Bullock missed a field goal, but it shouldn't have never came to him having to hit a field goal. You can't have turnovers, especially not on special teams. Ryan Tannehill played a good game. Did he play a great game? No, but he's not the reason that we're talking about the Titans being 0-1 and should have won against a team in the Giants who are still trying to figure things out. So this whole, the Titans playing down to their competition, I mean, yes and no, because every team on any given Sunday can be beat. It doesn't matter. You can come out and play your best game, and that team just play an even better game.
And in Week 1, how do we know what the level of competition is, really?
Exactly, because we talk about the Giants they didn't know, and they still probably don't know, and they probably are not a bad team, not the way that people are picturing or this narrative that they are just horrible. This is a team that is still trying to figure things out in the Giants, and if they can keep their running back healthy, that offensive line is going to continue to build chemistry, and they're going to continue to build confidence. And if they do that and he doesn't get hurt, this is going to be a good team that people are going to have to deal with moving forward. Mind you, they didn't have their 2 best pass rushers. So once they get them back, and this offensive line continues to block the way they have been for the Giants, the Giants may end up winning 9 games. The Cowboys quarterback's out.
Yeah, the Cowboys.
Washington, we don't know what. They barely won that game. So the Giants are looking at it like, man, we got an opportunity to win this. We're not as bad as what people say we are.
There's always a team or two that completely make us all dumb for everything we thought all summer long up until Thursday before the first kickoff. I want to ask you this, Derek. I heard some questions to Mike Vrabel. I don't think you heard his answer, so I'll paraphrase it for you on the utilization of Treylon Burks, because I think we all come away from the game saying, okay, they still need to find that guy that can strike a little fear in a defense. Burks had a pretty good first game. He 5 targets, 3 catches, pretty good, decent yards, made a couple of nice plays. He was commended by Mike Vrabel for his blocking. Got in on special teams. He got the holding penalty, which Vrabel broke down. But did you see progress from him? Are you encouraged that hopefully with some more time, he'll even become a bigger factor as he earns more? Because a lot of people are saying, hey, why didn't they throw it to him more?
Well, because obviously he's not starting for a reason, people.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the playbook as well as the guys in front of him, okay? As the season progresses, we assume that he's going to know more of the playbook, so he will play more of the plays. Am I surprised by what he did? No. He's a first-round pick. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. Catch the passes, the few passes that were catchable.
5 targets, 3 catches.
Exactly. He didn't wow us, but he didn't disappoint either. He just came out and played. There was on the long ball, I thought that he slowed up on his route. Now, those are things he will learn, because to me, slowing up on your route means you don't think you're getting the ball. Well, you can never be on the field thinking you're not going to get the ball, because you may get the ball. Had he run through that play, the deep ball, he may have gotten an opportunity to catch it, or he may have gotten a pass interference. We don't know, but he stopped running on the play.
What did you think of the one that was not called pass interference that a lot of people thought should have been called? I thought it was called. I didn't think it was
questionable call. You can go either way with that one. We're only seeing it in slow motion.
Yeah. Did you see anything on his technique though on that could help him down?
No, he tripped on his own leg.
Okay.
He was falling before the guy even fell on him. And honestly, the guy didn't impede him at all, because before the guy even fell, Treylon Burks was tripping. That's what caused the guy behind him to run up on him. So if they had called pass interference, it would have been, I wouldn't have argued over it, but they didn't. And I'm not going to argue over it either, because when you're going full speed, it just looks like bang, bang, like he tripped and then the guy fell on. Now, if I rewind it or slow it down, yes, I could possibly call a pass interference, but that's not how it works. Either they're going to call it in full speed or they're not.
Yeah,
you can't review a pass interference.
Yes. So did you see some stuff to build on, though, for Burks? Are you encouraged about the direction he's going?
I think he ran well after the catch. He caught the ball with his hands. He found holes in the defense. I'm not going to comment on the blocking because I wasn't paying attention to that. That's something that Vrabel was paying attention to, and obviously Vrabel commended him on the blocking. I think he did exactly what a rookie that doesn't know all of the playbook. I think he did exactly what they wanted him to do.
All right. What about Phillips?
Phillips was great. I mean, there's nothing other than a punt. And then on one of the passes, I think because he saw the defender in front of him, he kind of short-armed it. That's, can you catch it? Yes. The defender's right there. Okay. But beside that, I think the guy played really good. He was, to me, the only bright spot in the passing game, to me. I mean, Hollister made a big catch on the sideline, too, so take my hat off to him. He got his opportunity. He made it. Here's what we must understand about these Titan receivers. They're not going to – no one's going to fear them down the field. It comes to scheming these guys open. And this is what I've said before. When Vrabel talked about, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes. In this game, today's game, 20 years ago, yes, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes. This NFL now, it's about schematics. How do we scheme guys open? You can be an okay receiver. I've seen a bunch of them that end up catching 70, 80, 90 passes. You can be a great one that catch 145 passes. Why? It's all built on scheme now. I can scheme a guy open. That's why I said earlier during preseason, you got to scheme to where Traylon Burks gets the ball in his hand, okay? They schemed to get Kyle Phillips the ball in his hand, and he made the catches. Now next week moving forward, they got to start doing that with Traylon Burks, and they got to start doing that with Robert Woods.
He's Derek Mason. He has joined us, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, as we are reacting to the Titans and their loss 21-20 to the New York Giants yesterday. We will come back and continue discussing that. Also, Predators captain Roman Josi going to come over here and talk to us for a second, so we will talk to him. But first, D-Mase, tell us about BetUS.
Yes, fellas. Let me tell you about BetUS, especially after all these wonderful, tight games, whether it be in the NFL with the Titans games or in college football. I know many of you saw the Alabama and Texas game. That game was close. There were upsets everywhere. And if you went to BetUS, fans, which is the favorite sport book out there, BetUS.com, and it's back for its 28th NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offered their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including Week 1 of the NFL and many weeks after that, the NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sport book with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will get paid. You need a sport book that offers everything, including live betting on MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US. They will walk you through setting up your account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. That's 1025, which is the best station in town. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185! Good!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about it.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Presented by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and BetUS.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a cool start this morning, the afternoon takes us into the upper 70s, and that is where we stop. Well below average, low humidity. We are loaded with sunshine. No significant rain chances until the end of this upcoming week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now, a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexrode.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're live at the Vanderbilt Legends Club for Brent Peterson's golf tournament presented by First Horizon Bank, of course, benefiting the Predators Foundation. PD for Parkinson's, the big dinner will be tomorrow. And so we thought, all right, we got to get somebody to talk about this. And who would be the best person? Let's call the captain, Roman Josi. He has been nice enough to stop by. Roman, good to see you. It's been a minute. How was your summer?
Good to see you, too. It's been good. I stayed here most of the summer. I was in Nashville for most of it. It's been a really, really cool summer. We had our second child, so
yeah.
Obviously that was the highlight.
Congrats.
But, yeah. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was about to say that the family's grown a little bit in the off season, but you and the wife pretty much have put your roots down here in Nashville, which a lot of you guys have done, which is cool.
Yeah, we have. I mean, we've met here. She's been here for 11 years now too, and I've been here for 11 years. So this definitely become a home for us. And yeah, obviously I like to go back to Switzerland once in a while too in the summer, but yeah, summers are awesome here. I mean, there's so much fun, there's so much going on. It's a little hot sometimes, but other than that, it was awesome.
Did it help for you knowing that Summit Training Camp was going to be back home, be in Switzerland, with you guys getting that opportunity, and then of course going to Prague to start the season?
Yeah, definitely. That'll be awesome for me. Obviously, I haven't seen a lot of my family. Most of my family was over here over the summer, but there's still a lot of my family that I haven't seen in a while. So going back there and just being able to play in front of them too, playing against my old team where I played my whole life is going to be pretty special.
How neat is, I kind of call this tournament the first day of school where, we get to see everybody. And, I know you guys have been skating a little bit and been around, but to be able to come out, support Brent, support Petey, who's been a huge part of the Predators organization, but also see everybody, and it's kind of that unofficial kickoff to the season.
Yeah, it is. Every year, I mean, it's such a special event, the golf tournament and the dinner tomorrow night. I mean, Petey is such a huge part of the community, but also of the Predators. Obviously, he hasn't been coaching in a while, but he's still such a big part. He's always down there in the locker room.
He'll tell you what you're doing wrong. Don't worry.
He's always in the locker room, and it's always so good to see him. And obviously, what he does is amazing. So we love this day and tomorrow night's dinner. So it's an amazing start to the season for sure.
Roman, tell us about what the workouts are like. Before you actually turn it up a notch and have official practices, but when you guys just sort of casually go out and do the workouts, how important are those?
Yeah, they're definitely important. I mean, you start normally throughout the summer. I stay off the ice a little bit for like 2 months and try not to skate for a while and just get away a little bit from hockey. But after that, you start skating again. And now we've had like 20 guys the last 2 weeks, so we just kind of all skate together. We scrimmage a lot because that's the one thing you don't do as much. It's a little more serious once the season starts. So we try to have some fun and have some scrimmages and obviously at the same time try to get ready for the season.
I think Ryan McDonough's been around some for these. He's getting his family acclimated to Nashville and things like that. What's your first impression of being around him?
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, obviously, I've known him a little bit before, not that well, but he's been here for like 2 weeks now, and we've been hanging out a couple times, and he's seems like an amazing guy, great family, has 3 kids, so yeah, he'll be a huge addition for us. I mean, obviously. him winning 2 Stanley Cups and being such a big part of that Tampa team is it's pretty cool to have him on our side now.
Now, I know you've known Nino Niederreiter for a long, long time, and I think fair to say you help coax him and you say, look, this is a place for you. I know you're out there. You'd be a good fit here. What's it been like? What was that like trying to get a friend of yours to say, look, I know you're a good player. You're looking around, and this is your spot.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, honestly. I mean, as soon as I heard that the Preds were interested in him, I obviously called him. I told him, hey, you got to come here, and not just because he's a really good friend of mine. He is. We've known each other for a long time, but because he's a good player. He's an unbelievable player, and I knew he'd be a great fit for us and could really help us. So I was definitely pushing him to come here, and I'm glad it worked out.
Now you're showing him the ropes here. I noticed you guys were at the Titans game yesterday, so you saw the game. D-Mase has given his take on the game. Chase and I have been talking about it all morning. What happened? What happened to the Titans out there?
Yeah, I don't know. They seemed like they were in control the whole game, most of the game, but. As an athlete, I think you look a little different. It's one game, first game of the season, and you're playing the NFL or the NHL. Every team is good. There's no easy nights, and I know the people. I think the fans and everybody at the first game, you always like to panic a little too quick, but I have a lot of confidence in them. And like I said, it's one game. It's the first game of the season, and it's a hard league, so they'll be fine.
I wanted to ask you one about Switzerland. I know this plan was in the works a couple years ago.
Yeah, Willy's making his plans, his travel plans.
I'm excited.
He gets to go. We have to stay here.
I'm Mr. World Traveler now. I went to Ireland with the family just a few weeks ago. So now I'm excited to see another part of Europe here. So I know there's probably just a few scattered Predator fans. There will be a few. I know the seats are limited over there. So it's a big commitment to go over there. But there will be some fans that go over there and check it out. So just tell us about the Bern part. What's Bern like?
It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's a pretty small city. I think there's 140,000 people. But it's a beautiful city. They have a beautiful old town. You can walk pretty much everywhere. You can walk to all the restaurants. There's a cool river that goes through the city. That's one of the main things in Bern. You swim in the river in the summer. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. It might be a little cold in October, but that'd be something fun. But it's just a beautiful small city, but it'll be awesome. I think for people who've never been to Switzerland, never been to Bern, it'll be really cool because like I said, it's a beautiful city. It's a small city. You can walk to all the restaurants. You can we can take the tram to the rink if we want to, and so it's definitely a little different. So it'll be cool.
Very, very cool. Roman Josi, Predators captain, here with us. I know you got to go. You got to get ready to hit him straight. I think you'll have a good round. I have faith in you. But
you think so?
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I've heard, is Joey the best? Who's the best?
He is, yeah. Okay, he's the best golfer for sure.
So just beat Joey, and that's all you have to do.
I know.
He kind of has a swagger.
I might need my team.
When he gets here, I notice he kind of walks around like he's got a little golf swagger.
He knows he's good too. He goes to the range and he hits 2 or 3 balls. He's like,
he was chirping earlier, so I can tell he's kind of feeling it. So
he is.
Just humble him a little. Okay. That's all you have to do. Roman, good to see you. We'll see you at training camp here very, very soon. But thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Roman Josi, Predators captain, joining us here live at Vanderbilt Legends Club for Petey's golf tournament today. Good to catch up with him. We'll get back into the Titans coming up next. I know Derek has even more thoughts. And I'm going to bring somebody up. You told me not to bring him up, but I'm going to bring him up anyway because you can't ignore it. We're going to do that coming up next. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game.
Shot on the score. Philip Tomasino on the power play.
We talk the game.
I think the Predators have significantly upgraded with him in the top 6.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Nashville, there is a significant blood supply shortage after multiple traumas over the past Labor Day weekend. Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit blood centers, needs your help with your blood donation. When you donate with Blood Assurance, you can save up to 3 lives right here in the Middle Tennessee area. Make your blood donation in honor of 9/11 Day. Blood Assurance is giving out special commemorative 9/11 shirts for all donors. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location today.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 23rd through 25th, take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working, so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And the number one prediction that I have that absolutely floored me, I have the Baltimore Ravens as the best team in the NFL. I have the Baltimore Ravens. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning the number one seed in the AFC, going 14-3, and starting the season 7-0 before finally losing on the road at Tampa Bay in Week 8. I have them
them beating Buffalo?
Yes. Yeah, games at home. I have them and Buffalo the week before travels to Miami. So Buffalo has to go all the way to Miami, then they have to go all the way back to Buffalo, then they have to go back to Baltimore. And Baltimore is a sneaky, tricky team to play because it's so different with Lamar. And so...
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick.
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
And former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
1 o'clock hour, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Derek Mason with you. We're at the Vanderbilt Legends Club today. Brent Peterson's golf tournament. You just heard from Predators captain Roman Josi. I just spoke with David Poyle for a few minutes as everybody is here as they get ready to start their season very, very soon. But D-Mase, we're breaking down the Titans' loss yesterday to the New York Giants, 21-20 at Nissan Stadium. 615-737-1025. That is our phone number, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can call, you can text. You can get Derek's thoughts if you have questions for him, but a lot of people have weighed in. And here's basically, in a nutshell, what we've heard today. And, you know, I'm not firing anybody. I'm not cutting anybody. It's one game. The play calling has been questioned. You did some of that when you first joined us by Todd Downing. That certainly is something that you have to look at. You used the words outcoached by the coaching staff, that you felt there were times that they got outcoached. I can't disagree with that. The Giants had more explosive plays that ended up beating the Titans. And, you know, how I started the show, D-Mase, was a bad team doesn't know they're bad if you let them hang around long enough. And the Titans let the Giants hang around way too much, and ultimately it got them beat. They looked really good in the first half. They marched downfield, score. You know, I thought the use of Dontrell Hilliard was great. I liked involving him in the offense. I didn't think Derrick Henry looked that bad. Was it a slow start? Sure. Will he get better? I believe so. But then you don't make enough defensive stops against their run game in the second half. Your offense becomes very pedestrian and predictable, and therefore you let them hang around, and then they beat you on two big plays, a run by Saquon Barkley and then the catch by Shepard, where he absolutely made Christian Fulton just look lost on that play. And ultimately that's what got the Titans beat. Can you blame some of the officiating? Okay, sure. Can you blame a missed kick? You'd like to see him make that 47-yard kick, and if you give him another chance to do it, he probably makes it. But ultimately, you allowed the Giants to hang around, and that got you beat.
Yeah, again, you can't allow a team to gain any confidence or momentum, especially a team that is still trying to figure themselves out in the Giants. The Giants, you know, there's questions at the quarterback positions. There are questions heading into that game with the defense. There's questions whether Saquon is back to being Saquon again. Well, you help answer all of those questions, Tennessee Titans, at least for this week, for the New York Giants. They feel their quarterback is okay because he made some key throws yesterday, especially in the second half. They answered the question about Saquon Barkley. Saquon feel he's back. You helped him further believe that he's back to form. From a defensive standpoint, you helped them believe that they have a good enough defense to stop a powerhouse running game. So all of these questions that the Giants had coming into the game, you helped them answer it, at least for this week. They checkmark, you know, green on everything that they had questions about.
Yep.
Why? Because you didn't come out in the second half and do the things necessary to win that to win that football game. The discipline, I know it angers Vrabel. Not necessarily the loss. That angers any coach, you know, regardless of who the coach is. But what angered him the most, I think, is the undisciplined play. The penalties. Those are things that you can control. And the Titans didn't control them. The muff punt. Those are things you can control. You didn't control it. Those are things that Vrabel is in the office. He's livid. Because these are things that you can't have. These are things the Titans didn't do last season. They didn't beat themselves, especially in tight games. They didn't beat themselves. Well, this game, they beat themselves.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the other thing. And this is the part where you're going to push back at me and you're going to say you don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to bring it up. I thought, and Vrabel said it in his press conference today, young guys played well. I don't disagree with him. I thought they did. Kyle Phillips made some big plays. Did he make some mistakes, the muff punt? Yes. He's a rookie. It's going to happen. But overall, I thought he had a nice game. He even had some drops early on where I'm like, come on, man, you got to make that play. You got to make that catch. He rebounded 9 targets, 6 catches, 66 yards, including a 21-yarder. Traylon Burks targeted 5 times, 3 catches for 55 yards and a long of 27. Here's where I'm going with this, though. Robert Woods targeted twice, 1 catch, 13 yards. Austin Hooper targeted twice, 1 catch, 6 yards. I'm not putting this on the rookies to be the big play and to put fear into the defense. That's why you have a guy like Robert Woods. That's why you have a guy like Austin Hooper. That's why you made those moves to bring them in. when you made the decision to trade A.J. Brown, which I agreed with at the time and I still agree with now, you put pressure on Treylon Burks because that's where you drafted him, but you put pressure on everybody else to make up for those plays. A.J. Brown, as much as I know you don't want to talk about it, balled out yesterday for Philadelphia.
Yeah, he did ball out.
And you didn't have anybody except for Derrick Henry that put fear in the defense to make you think, okay, they could make a big play on me at any point in time. That's what they're missing with without A.J. Brown.
Listen, I'm not saying that I think we've already established that, even before they played the Giants, even before we, knew how, pedestrian the passing game was going to be, we knew that from a, explosive and respect factor, they were going to miss A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
We knew that Robert Woods wasn't A.J. Brown and wasn't even close, not anymore, especially after the injury. We knew that Treylon Burks wasn't going to just light the world up the first week. Had he done it, it would have been great, but the odds of him doing it was slim. So we knew all of that. My thing is, one, these two offenses are totally different. Philadelphia Eagles can't run the football, so they spread people out and they throw it across the yard. From a schematic standpoint, they put you in a position where you have to either play zone coverage or if you play man-to-man, they scheme guys open, okay? So you can't look at AJ's production and then look at the Titans. Two different systems, two different teams, okay? And then in the second half, he only had 3 catches in the second half. 3 catches for like 30 yards, I think. So the Lions did a good job at shutting him down the second half, okay? What if that's the Titans? He only has 30 yards or 20 yards the second half with the Titans. Does that win them the game? Probably not, because AJ doesn't play defense.
Right.
The defense allowed the New York Giants to get back into the game. More importantly and more disappointing, it was the run defense, something that I know every coach try to pride themselves on. You can do anything else, but you are not running the football. I've been around plenty coaches, defensive coaches, where their mindset is, we're going to make you pass the football. We're going to stop the run and force you to pass. Well, the Titans didn't force the Giants to pass the ball because they couldn't stop the run. With a defensive line like that, they should have been able to stop the run better than what they did yesterday.
Do you think it's as simple as saying, well, they didn't have Harold Landry, or is it, because you're not going to have Harold Landry. You can't use that as an excuse. He's gone for the year. But what did you see that made you, that pointed to them not being able to stop the run?
It was not being disciplined. Guys jumping out of their run lanes. Cunningham jumping out of his run lanes. Guys not, getting fits on blocks, getting off blocks, rather. Guys not making the tackle at the point of attack. There were a few times where Saquon hit 2 guys and end up gaining 2 or 3 more yards. That's stuff that we saw Derrick Henry doing.
Yeah.
We didn't think that Saquon Barkley was going to be able to do it, especially coming off the seasons that he has had. But when you got an opportunity to tackle, when it's 2-on-1, make the tackle right where you touch the guy. Don't let the guy then break through one tackle and gain an extra 2 or 3 yards. Don't get out of your run lane. Don't get out of your tackle lane. Cunningham jumps inside. Saquon goes outside and get a big gain. You have to play disciplined football when you're playing against a running back like Saquon Barkley, because if you don't play disciplined football, the Giants play disciplined football against Derrick Henry. The Titans didn't play disciplined defense when it came to trying to stop Saquon Barkley.
So, what I gather here, and this is how I feel. I don't think they respected Barkley enough. I think it would appear, and Vrabel's going to deny it, and Vrabel's going to say, he's been hard on his defense. He has pointed out the mistakes that they have made. But I kind of feel like that they came into this with a bit of a mindset of, he's not what he used to be. He's not the rookie Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. He's had a down few years, and they let him burn him.
Could that have been the case? I hope it wasn't. Especially, knowing that Vrabel's who the head coach is. So you expect, whether it be the defense or offense, to not come in with a mindset of, we're superior to this team. We're going to win no matter what. We're going to find a way to win this game. You hope with Vrabel as their coach that they don't walk into a game with that mentality. Again, there were a lot of good things that defense did in the first half. The second half, they allowed the Giants to gain confidence and momentum. Guys were trying to make plays instead of doing their job. Vrabel preaches that all the time. We hear players saying it. Just do your job.
Yep.
Don't try to do anyone else's.
Do your
exactly.
job.
Don't try to be the hero. Do your job. If the play comes to you, make it. I saw a bunch of guys out there not doing their job, trying to make a play.
Coming up next, we'll go around the NFL because it was a wild first day in the National Football League. Nick Keiser will ask us the questions. We will do that. Coming up next as you listen to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives. That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with, and we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before. And it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a beach day. And with 35 miles of pristine, sugary white sand, it's easy to see why. So let's grab the beach bag, the beach ball, and the boogie board. Let's pack the suits, the sunscreen, and the sunglasses. Take a dip in the emerald green waters of the Gulf. And then take in a breathtaking sunset at the end of the day. So let's make a beeline to the beach. And let's shine. Plan your next getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Men, what if I told you that now you are able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMD4Men.com.
It's time for another Kubota Field event hosted by Coleman Tractor of Nashville. Our biggest sales event of the year takes place on Thursday, September 15th at the Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot. Don't miss this perfect opportunity to demo tractors, zero-turn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers. Receive a coupon for up to $250. Plus, enter to win an Orca cooler. Try it and buy it at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot for Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field event, Thursday, September 15th. The event kicks off at 7:30 a.m.
Football is back, and so are the deals at Electronic Express. Save big on everything you need for the big game from brands like Samsung, GE, Sony, Cuisinart, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make football season happen.
It's on, it's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. A reminder, the Eddie George Show coming up at 6 o'clock tonight featuring Jonathan Hutton. They'll be live at 6 in Peabody. Eddie George Show brought to you by Low T Centers. And their guest tonight, D-Mase?
I heard you.
Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
Titan safety.
I heard it earlier.
Yeah.
I was listening while I was playing golf.
Yeah. Well, look, man, Byard might be like the one guy that can, even though he's not going to say it, can say he had a good day.
When
Tannehill, too. I'm not going to put anything on Tannehill.
When, a guy rushes for 160-something yards, I don't think anybody has a good day
and
on defense,
that's what he would say.
So
that's what he would say. But, yeah, Kevin Byard will be the guest tonight. All right, Nick Keyser, it is time for you to make your debut as we go around the NFL. It was an interesting day, to say the least. So take it away.
Oh, my gosh. It was one for the books, fellas. Week 1 was really interesting. And I think the first thing that pops out to me that I have to ask you guys about is special teams. We've talked about it some already. But I noticed after one Ryan Suckup missed field goal last night, there were 10 missed field goals. So do you guys just think this is the nerves getting the best of these kickers? Do you think it's just the luck of the draw that they've been getting? Because I know that yesterday, Cairo Santos, who was actually one of Willy's trivia question answers a few weeks ago, I think, he missed 2 extra points in that crazy rainy game in Soldier Field yesterday. So what do you guys kind of take out of this weekend as far as the field goal kickers go?
I mean, I would love to see what the stat is on, missed extra points and or field goals first week of an NFL season. When you have 10 missed, you wonder, is this the most that has ever been missed in a week 1 season, or has there been, times where there has been more than 10 field goals missed? You could blame it on weather. I don't think kickers still have gotten used to this, this extra point being pushed back, even though to me, I'm not a kicker, but even though to me it just seems like a longer field goal. But kickers are having trouble. Some just like the Cincinnati Bengals, their long snapper was out. So, it depends on, there's other variables that are a part of this because you had weather at some places, and then with the Cincinnati Bengals, you had a backup long snapper that even on the field goals they made, the snaps weren't perfect. So, but I would love to see what the percentage of kicks missed on the first week of a NFL season.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's that. I think you look at the Cincinnati game specifically, the long snapper's out, and so you go to an emergency long snapper who's not having to do that on a regular basis. That obviously factored in, to the missed extra point, the missed field goal in overtime. I think McPherson's usually pretty clutch, but, if you're dealing with – if the battery is all messed up, then, that's going to certainly affect things. So that's a part of it. But it's week 1, when it comes to kickers. And, with Randy Bullock specifically, you have him make that kick. You turn around and say, do it again, he probably makes it. So I think that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Fair enough. Well, let's move on, fellas. And really quick, did you guys see the tailgating catastrophe that happened in Miami? Oh, my gosh. Unbelievable. 4 cars go damaged, and oh, my gosh. You just can't leave your grills on people and go in and watch the game. It's not that important. But my next thought for you guys is there were 6 –
Those are some hot cars.
Oh, boy. Real hot
like
cars.
That,
But we had 6 NFL head coaches that had their first victories yesterday. You had Brian Dabo, you had Matt Eberflus, you had Sean O'Connell, Mike McDaniel, Dennis Allen, and Todd Bowles that won last night. Yeah, I definitely butchered his last name.
Yeah, Bowles.
Bowles. Hey, I do hockey names.
Dabo.
Yeah, we've all done it. Don't.
But out of these coaches, guys, who had the more impressive win in week 1?
Gosh, I mean, all of them are impressive.
And Todd Bowles' first one with his new team. He's been a head coach before.
Yeah, he's been a head coach. But I think Daboll. I think his win against this Tennessee Titan team, considering the questions that the Giants still have, I think this was huge because the Giants could have, went into halftime and just been woe is us and folded. But they came out, and whatever he said to them at half, it worked because they came out and they started balling.
Well, I think that and Mike McDaniel with Miami to lay the beat down on New England like they did. I know Tyreek Hill had some interesting quotes about. I don't know if you heard that. Did you hear
I didn't hear Tyreek's.
Tyreek Hill said McDaniel's going to need a wheelbarrow to carry his things in because of how he coached that game. But, Brian Daboll can say the same thing. The stones to go for it for the 2-point conversion, which if I'm him, I do the same thing. Go for 2. Say, screw this overtime thing. Go for 2. Win the game. And he did, and it worked. But I'll go Mike McDaniel with Miami.
That's a good pick. And I think for me, I have to go Matt Eberflus because of just the condition that they played in yesterday. I mean, they're a team that can practice in the rain, and they were very well prepped for that game. I saw a photo that Ryan Porth quote tweeted with a bunch of eyeballs, and you could see the sideline line, and it was completely distorted yesterday. So
Chicago's the Bears aren't very good though.
No,
they won that game, but they're not very good.
Yeah, it's week 1, but that's all right. And I have a fun fact of the weekend as well, and I'll probably do this every week, guys. But the one thing that I just could not gloss over was there were no wins at all in the AFC South, and 2 of the teams played against each other. Absolutely insane. And on top of that, the Colts have never tied since going to Indianapolis. So just your all's reaction from that if you have anything. So I thought that was insane.
The Colts have never tied?
No, never tied before they had moved to Indianapolis. They tied in Baltimore, but they have never tied in Indianapolis.
Since the move to Indianapolis.
Yes.
I mean, that's another team that started off slow, dug themselves in a hole, and had to find a way to come back and, to have an opportunity to win. They ended up tying the game, but, that's another team that came out flat in the first half, but picked it up in the second half, but dug themselves too deep of a hole.
But how you going I mean, they were in a position to win, to come back and beat the Texans. Again, the Texans aren't a good team either. And bad teams don't know they're bad early on in week 1. But that's what makes the Titans' loss that much more egregious because no one in the AFC South has won. You had an opportunity to come in week 1 and take a stranglehold on the AFC South because Jacksonville blew it and lost to a bad Washington team. The Texans in Indy just kept farting around and ended up tying, which ties should not exist in the National Football League. Don't get me started there. And there were 2 of them, egregious. And then the Titans mess around and they lose to the Giants. And so everybody's winless in the AFC South, and the Titans had a perfect opportunity to take control of it.
Yeah, they did, but they didn't. And I guarantee you Indianapolis is saying the same thing, about their tie. I guarantee you Jacksonville is saying the same thing about their – no, you're right about that. I think when it comes to the professional ranks, you should play until there's a winner. This is not college football. This is not high school. This is not Pee Wee League. You get paid to do a job. Do it and play it out until somebody wins. But all of these teams in this division are saying the same thing. We had an opportunity to get one and be up a game in our division, and all of them squandered it.
Just ask Josh Allen. He had the fate of the coin in the playoffs last year, so he loved that. But
and they changed the rule.
Yeah. So one more thing I thought was really unique. I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I don't know how to say this. I'm going to try it. Equanimus, I think is how you say his name. I looked it up, but
sure.
Yeah,
we'll take it.
The St. Brown brothers had a pair of touchdowns between the both of them combined, and they were within seconds of each other yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught that or not.
No.
I did see that on a tweet. Someone tweeted that out. And didn't you send it? I don't know if you sent it.
I don't know.
Us.
I may have sent it.
Somebody sent it. And I just thought it was cool. It's kind of like, the Diggs brothers. You know, them, catching touchdowns in the same week or making big plays in the same week. It's just a cool thing to see that you and your siblings both have reached that height of professionalism. And both of y'all are doing y'all thing on your respective teams. So that's kind of neat to see.
Okay, Nick, I will say for your first time, good job.
Hey,
Dylan has weighed in on our text line though. We're driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Where's the Zingers music? We do need the music. So
look,
the
I am
NFL
not
NFL films.
Yeah, you just gotta have a little backdrop.
I am no Elijah Campbell, and apparently Magnum PI has been banned. So I am not going to run with that. But I'll have to come up with my own theme.
Yeah, you got to come up with your own thing.
Do some NFL films music. It'll make Willy happy. Trust me. He'll get all giddy, when he hears the NFL films music and keep it moving. One thing I will bring up as we wrap this up, Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, coaching malpractice yesterday. You and I were sitting there watching it at Sonny's. Jamar Chase had the game-winning
touchdown.
He had the game-winning touchdown, and he doesn't challenge it.
I have no idea.
Like, that is a touchdown.
No, why? You know why? You can't blame him. Why he didn't challenge it? I think by rule he couldn't challenge it.
Yes, he could.
No, it was it was under.
No, it was ahead of the 2-minute warning. If it's under 2 minutes, he can't challenge it. But it was like there was like 3.5 or something left.
He probably didn't realize the time left on the clock.
Well,
so
that's coaching malpractice.
That's still coaching malpractice. You're right about that.
Yeah, because that game is over if he does it then, but he doesn't. So that was a wild game. Steelers end up winning it. Steelers, as you pointed out yesterday, you don't underestimate Mike Tomlin. Steelers might be a little bit better than everybody thinks they are. Yeah. Now, do I think Mitch Trubisky is the guy? No. But that team overall. Now, they lose T.J. Watt.
That's a huge loss.
That's a big loss. But and the Cowboys looks like they've lost Dak Prescott for 4 to 6 weeks. So I look forward to seeing Jimmy Garoppolo in a Dallas Cowboys uniform here in the near future, because that just seems like what I'm destined for. And I put on my Instagram story yesterday. Michael Scott, they put a Cowboys hat on him. I'm ready to get hurt again. And as a Cowboys fan, that's exactly what happened. So there you go. Good job, Nick, on Around the NFL. Coming up next, we're going to get back into the Titans and their loss. And, was the coaching staff out-coached? We'll talk about that a little bit more. 615-737-1025. It's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, the game.
The kick by Bullock is on the way. And it is no good. He missed it to the left.
The Titans can't close out the Giants at Nissan Stadium.
Gabe Davis, touchdown Buffalo.
And now face Buffalo on the road on Monday night. What adjustments can Mike Vrabel make for week 2?
Get aggressive with these guys at the line and make them beat us, because I don't think they can.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Psst. Something's hatching at the Nashville Fair. 4 nights, 4 bands, and 4 themes. Come on out to Nashfest 2022, presented by Nashville Soccer Club. Enjoy live music, games, food, and signature drinks. All 4 festivals are free with fair admission. Eat local and drink local, where locals play. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest design, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
See the latest from Viraggio, handcrafted on Fifth Avenue in New York by true artisans with unmatched attention to detail and the highest quality standards. Viraggio is the only ring that can be customized for every woman's specific desires. Come explore the entire Viraggio collection at Genesis.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 23rd through 25th, take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Tired of living with chronic joint pain from arthritis or injury? Stop with the steroids and pain meds and don't have surgery until you check out regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics.
These therapies can help the body have long-term relief of your pain.
Meet Dr. Justin Garzone, Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
We use your body's own healing properties, highly concentrate them, and then use that to restore and repair the damaged tissues in your joints.
This is a cutting-edge natural solution from local medical professionals.
We have a team of medical assistants, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, and physicians that are trained specifically just to do regenerative medicine.
And Dr. Garzone speaks from personal experience. Before joining the QC Kinetics team, he was an actual patient.
I am now pain-free.
You too can get lasting relief from joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN. Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Somebody company is delivered. There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app. You can also watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook every day in our video streaming presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry, Chase McCabe, Derek Mason here with you at the Vanderbilt Legends Club. Been fun running into everybody. You can weigh in on the Titans and their loss to the Giants yesterday, 21-20 at Nissan Stadium, 615-737-1025. Our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll have trivia coming up in just a few minutes, so we'll give you a chance to what are you winning? Jim Jeffries at the Ryman.
There we go.
On October 8th, you'll have a pair of tickets on the line, but you must answer a Titans trivia question, so I'll give you that in just a second. But let's go to Adam. He has a comment on the Titans yesterday. Adam, welcome in.
Yeah, I haven't even listened to the show, man. I missed the morning show. I get in this funk. Like, I get too bummed out. So the opportunities out there, man, I think I felt better walking away from the Cardinal game that we got crushed because we didn't, we were mismanaged in the Cardinal game last year. But this one was I don't even know what to make of it, Chase. I don't know what y'all's covered because I haven't listened, but I don't know what to make of it. I know we got a lot of young dudes, right? And some of them flashed. You can get mad at Chig for not cutting up the field earlier than he did on that run play. You can get mad at Phillips for muffing a punt, but also they did nice things too. Phillips got open on that big pass. He had a good return. I'm a little scared about our running back, to be honest with you. I'm sure you covered him, but he got took off.
Why are you scared about the running back?
He got took off his feet like he was a 110-pound running back instead of a 250-pound running back. I don't know if he's not hitting the hole the same way, Chase. I don't know if he's timid because he got hurt. I don't know what he didn't look. Did he look like the same guy to you? He looked bigger, like he's bulked up, but he had dudes single dudes smashing him yesterday. What is that all about? It didn't make any sense.
The particular play you're talking about, I mean, any running back would have got hit and knocked. He was jumping over one guy, and he just caught him midstream. He caught it right up in the air with his feet not on the ground. So any running back would have fell to the ground, let alone Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is – I didn't see anything that I should be worried about with Derrick Henry. He cut on that foot. He was explosive at times. He ran through guys at times. Yes, and did he get tackled by one guy at times? Absolutely. Every running back does. So I don't understand what this is. That's easy to say, okay? That's easy for anyone to come out and say, well, Derrick Henry didn't look like Derrick Henry. Tell me, give me something else, because that is just, you're spitting what people were saying before the game and what some people may be saying after the game. I guarantee you, if you ask those guys who were tackling him, they would tell you, yeah, that's the same Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
He's running downhill. He didn't seem timid to me. He didn't seem slow to me. He's Derrick Henry. The more times you give that man the ball, the stronger he gets. Go look at his first game of the season stats, okay? Every year he's been in the NFL. Exactly, he's been slow out of the gate. Actually, this is one of his better games from a run standpoint and a yardage standpoint. So, people, that whole narrative that, Derrick Henry, no, it's not. Okay, let's stop that. That's easy to point to in a loss. Had the Titans won, people wouldn't be saying this, but they lost.
Well, I'm the number one Derrick Henry advocate in the world, man. I promise you that. But I'm looking at a couple of those runs. I'm like, what? Look, here's my thing, D-Mase, and trust me, I believe in you more than I believe in myself with opinions on this. But what I'm saying is, so much of our offense is predicated with him being strong, him being scary, him being elusive and special. And I didn't see elusive and special yesterday, man. That's all. I want to see him look like I expect him to see. That's all.
Thanks for the call, Adam.
Thank you.
All right, here you go. He averaged 3.9 yards per attempt yesterday. Okay. In 2021, in the loss to Arizona, he averaged 3.4 yards per attempt. In 2020, in the win against Denver, 3.74 yards per attempt in the first game. Let's go back to 2019, a win in Cleveland, 4.4. Okay, obviously had a big day, but he only had 84 yards in that one. So I do. Gates. I didn't think he looked all that bad. Did he have some explosiveness early on? No. He had the 18-yard run. All right, that you kind of want to see a little bit more than that. I noticed when he was trying to go outside, that's when he struggled. When he was up the middle, he had more success, and that's probably some of the run blocking that he's had in the past. I'm not worried about Derrick Henry right now.
No, I'm not either. He's still getting used to this offensive line and what they like to do. The offensive line is getting used to him, especially on the right side. There were moments where, you saw the explosiveness. You saw the cut off the foot. I mean, listen, if the Titans are playing disciplined football up front, then he has over 100 yards. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk about – if they play disciplined football up front and work their technique on the offensive line on certain plays, then he has over 100 yards. He's averaging over 4 yards per carry, and no one's saying anything.
Yep.
But because they're looking at it, he got, the big hit that he had. Well, if you go back and look at that play, again, he was jumping over one guy, and another guy came and hit him while he was in the air. I mean, that's just physics. He's going to fall on the ground, and that's what he did. So that's two people I'm not worried about, Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Those two people I'm not worried about. And Ben Jones. I'm not worried about Ben. Ben played a good game.
Yeah.
Taylor had a few mistakes. Brewer had a few mistakes. I think Nicholas played
PT.
Yeah, PT or PR, whatever you want to call it.
Not me.
I think he played for a rookie. I think he played a okay game. He wasn't bad, but he will learn as you continue to move forward. And I believe, like I said before, I believe this guy is going to only get better as the season goes.
I think the rookies overall had a decent day.
Yeah.
You can obviously find some areas that they can get better at, but I think overall it was a good day. So I'm not really going to put any of that on the rookies. Coming up next, we will put a bow on things, get you set for Stillman and Company that's coming up at 2 o'clock. But here is the trivia question. It's very simple. Know your numbers. Derrick Henry wears the number 22. Which Titan wore the number 22 before Derrick Henry? 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. A pair of tickets to see Jim Jeffries at the Ryman Auditorium on Saturday, October 8th. Who wore the number 22 before Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans? That is your trivia question. More Chase, Willy, and D-Mase up next. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at theGameNashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes. Like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Go to theGameNashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a cool start this morning, the afternoon takes us into the upper 70s, and that is where we stop. Well below average, low humidity. We are loaded with sunshine. No significant rain chances until the end of this upcoming week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
MTSU football is officially back in action inside Floyd Stadium on September 17th. Your Blue Raiders will kick off against the state foe, the TSU Tigers, led by former Tennessee Titan Eddie George, for the 2022 season home opener. Come early and wear your blue because it's going to be a day full of family fun. Be sure to check out the Blue Raider Beer Garden and the Blue Raider Family Fun Zone inside the stadium. Stick around for a post-game fireworks show. To purchase tickets, visit GoBlueRaiders.com/tickets. Middle Tennessee. We are Blue Knighted.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, the game live at the Legends Club in Franklin. Stillman and Company coming up in about 15 minutes, and I get to look at the grid. He sends me the grid. 2 o'clock, Jared will address the Titans' loss to the Giants.
Only Jared.
So we look forward to Jared's address.
Okay.
Of the loss to the Giants yesterday. That's coming up in about 15 minutes.
Is Jared the GM?
He is not. He worked with the GM. But
yeah,
he's
I know
not the
that.
GM.
But does that classify him? Does that make him an honorary GM?
In his mind, if you ask him, yes.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
In his mind, yes. But anyway, be listening at 2 o'clock. Adam Schefter has put out some injury updates across the league. He says, and this one is somebody we know very well here in these parts. An MRI revealed the Eagles' defensive end Derek Barnett suffered a season-ending torn ACL during their win over the Lions. Ravens cornerback Kyle Fuller tore his ACL per John Harbaugh. He says scans on Patriots quarterback Mac Jones came back normal. Per source, the injury is not thought to be serious, but the team will monitor and gauge how Jones is feeling this week before Sunday's game versus Pittsburgh. And speaking of Pittsburgh, Steelers Defensive Player of the Year T.J. Watt will get a second and third medical opinion about his torn pec Tuesday. Per sources, if the doctors determine that Watt needs surgery, his season likely would be over. If he doesn't need surgery, he would possibly return in 6 weeks. Torn pec, and he knew it too. We were watching. Yeah. He said it's torn as soon as he made the play. But that would be a huge blow for the Steelers if T.J. Watt is in fact done for the year. I don't know what a second and third opinion is really going to tell you.
If a guy does something and he hears it or feels it, tears, and he comes off and says, I tore it, then, I mean, I understand, your second, getting a second opinion. But why the third opinion? Shouldn't be the first two should give you pretty much what you need to know. That third opinion, what? You just it's just like, okay, I'm taking the law of average, and I'm going to go with the middle guy or girl or whoever.
Look, it's like me when she tells me she just wants to be friends, and I keep asking. Like, I know at that point. But I hear it all the time.
I understand that part too, man.
Yeah,
if somebody says they want to be friends, you just got to be friends and deal with it.
But maybe she'll change her mind.
When it comes, when it comes to women, they're not going to. When it comes to that part, they're not going to change their mind.
Not at all. The Titans' pass rush yesterday was at least a bright spot. They got 5 sacks on Daniel Jones. Rashad Weaver, I thought, really looked the part yesterday. 2 sacks by him. Jeff Simmons is Jeff Simmons, but I was impressed with the absence of Harold Landry. Rashad Weaver really stepped up.
Yes, he did. He made some big plays for the Titans. It's that, if one guy goes down, the other guy has to be prepared to play and play at a high level. And I think
Dupree played well too.
Yeah, Dupree played well. Weaver played well. I think Long played well. That defensive front, especially in the first half for the most part, all those guys played well. It was the second half where guys just, the attention to detail wasn't there, and they were undisciplined.
Yeah.
You got to have you hear defensive players say it all the time, you got to have eye discipline. You got to know in what defense where you're supposed to be and not get outside that. If it's calls for you to, set the edge, then set the edge. If it calls for you to make that running back cut back in, then make that running back cut back in. Don't try to shoot the gap inside and then the guy gets outside of you. You're trying to be a hero in that respect. And hero ball is not going to work in the NFL. It's just not. You may every once in a while you get it, but hero ball isn't going to work. So they got to regroup, and I'm sure Vrabel is preaching to them, do your job. Don't try to do somebody else's. Don't try to be a hero. Do what we are asking you to do, and everything will be fine. But, in certain situations, guys were not disciplined in doing what the coaches asked them to do.
And that's where, you can sit here on one hand and you can say, okay, well, why weren't they doing that in the first game of the season? Why didn't Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff have them more disciplined going into the first game of the season? And it's fair to ask that question. I ask it. But at the same time, when that does happen, when there are miscues like that, the bounce back tends to come the next week. Now, the test is you're going to Buffalo against the perceived best team in football. They looked the part on week 1, but you can say, hey, it's 1 week. Let's see, them put a couple of weeks together of showing just how good they are. And, Buffalo is not really known for having a huge run game outside of Josh Allen, but Josh Allen can hurt you in that department. So if they're having miscues in run defense, you don't want to do that against Josh Allen. And then he can hurt you in other ways as well. But I feel like a lot of the things that we've talked about today, Vrabel's going to emphasize this week, and they are going to clean those things up.
Yeah.
It's just, can they clean it up enough to go into Buffalo and steal a win?
I believe that Vrabel will coach them out of whatever, undisciplinedness they showed this prior week. He will coach it out of them, and hopefully they won't then make those same mistakes, because I truly believe that he's the type of coach that if you keep making these same mistakes, you're not playing. He's going to pull you. So, you figure the Titans going into week 2 versus the Bills, they will have a lot of this cleaned up. But, the Bills are different from the New York Giants. The Bills operate a lot different. They may be able to get, some pass rush because Buffalo wants to pass the football. And them being a run team, they're not. They're a team that's going to, spread you out, and they're looking to throw the ball. They're looking for those short passes to be their run game. They will hand the ball off every now and then, but they're not this run-based defense. Thurman Thomas isn't there anymore. Beast mode isn't. Marshawn Lynch isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Willis McGahee isn't there anymore. I'm talking about the backs that they gave it to that were power, downhill backs. This is a team that is going to win on the arm of their quarterback or the legs of their quarterback. So I'm expecting to see a different Titans team. Now, here's the problem. The defensive line was tested this week. You know what's going to be tested next week? The secondary.
Yep.
The secondary will be tested next week with Stephon Diggs and company.
And look, Christian Fulton got burnt on that play. You didn't really see Caleb Farley. You didn't really see much of Roger McCreary. That young secondary that you have brought up, you have said that since the beginning of training camp, how concerned you are about them. Not necessarily because you think they're not talented, just because of the inexperience and how young they are.
Yeah, and them not as experienced in this defense, as they have been in years prior. I think in prior years they had more depth and more experience at that position. So they were able to do some things different. Now, their defensive line situation was much different a few years ago. But this year, they got a really good defensive line, defensive front. Now the experience of that secondary has to be expedited because – if that secondary comes around and they start making plays, they shore up everything in a run defense. This team at least this defense is going to be back to where we thought they should have been this game.
How do they fix the coaching miscues and whether it's getting a play call in quick enough? And, Vrabel said he didn't use his "we need to coach better, play better," but he addressed that, look, they need to fix some things on their end too.
Well, they go back and they watch the film and they talk amongst coaches, just like, you critique your coaches like you critique your players. You go back, you watch the film as a staff, because they're going to watch this game 3 or 4 times as a staff. And then, before they even, get to the players today, they've already watched this game twice, I guarantee you 2 or 3 times already as a coaching staff. So Vrabel has critiqued every coach, even himself, before they even started to critique and watch the film with the players. So I expect for the coaching staff not to have the same problems or miscues they had in the Giants game. I don't expect to see that versus Buffalo.
We got a winner to our trivia question. Jim Jeffries, tickets on the line October 8th at the Ryman Auditorium. Who wore number 22 before Derrick Henry? It was another running back. It was Dexter McCluster. formerly of Kansas City and the Ole Miss Rebels. Dexter McCluster was 22. So we did get a winner. Who was our winner, Nick?
It was Chris.
Chris with our winner. Okay,
Good
congratulations.
job. Congrats, Chris.
Congratulations. We'll do trivia every day. We'll do it tomorrow at 1:15 because we will have Clark Lee from Vanderbilt join us. That's going to do it for us, but don't go anywhere. Jared Stillman, Caroline Fenton, they will address the loss to the New York Football Giants yesterday. I know they will have a ton of reaction to that. We're back at it tomorrow at 10 here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
We out.
You watch the game.
Tannehill, he can run, and he does. Touchdown.
We talk the game.
I think this is Vrabel giving Tannehill more authority over the team.
We are the game.